The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Finally, at long last, it looks like the long-awaited making of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving is finally going to be put into production this month. A whole bunch of people got signed on to it. Now listen to these names. You got Patrick Dempsey. You got Jalen Thomas Brooks, Milo Manheim, and Nyla Verlecue, whatever the name is. But also added to that is also the wonderful Gina Gershon. And I can't wait for this. Eli Roth is going to be a producer along with Roger Birnbaum. So this is going to be an interesting, fun little take. They're going to start shooting this month. Hopefully it'll be ready for a Thanksgiving release. And, of course, set in Massachusetts. And I've been waiting for this for the longest time. I know you guys have too. And I can't wait for it. I'm sure you can either. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 555 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein. Also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, and also Casa de Zero. And broadcasting from a prison ocean liner somewhere in South Korea, we are joined by our Patreon supporter for his Patreon takeover, Carlitos.
Carlitos! Hey! Trick or Treat Radio, how are you doing?
Good, man. Carlitos, it's great to have you back, my friend. You picked some doozies this time, I'll tell you that much. And, yeah, looking forward to just, hanging out with you, shooting the shit, and talking about some awesome movies. Raven Shadow, you usually have a nice little intro. Is there something you wanna do? Maybe I don't want to step on toes,
No, I mean, you know him, you love him, always been a Patreon, for life thus far. Kills it in the fucking, what's the thing I do?
Blackout tapes. You just blacked out thinking about it.
I panicked for a minute because it got me all fucked up. I'm excited he's here. He loves fucking banana fingers. Carlitos.
Banana fingers.
So
I can't believe that's still a thing.
I know, right? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
So
I've been trying to drop it.
Nah, I think you could typically find out when Raven Shadow wants something to be dropped. there was I don't want to even say it because I remember Raven Shadow got pissed one time when someone brought up a name of a movie and then they said, "Oh, he is that thing." I don't know if I'm trying to be super vague because I don't want to piss you off, Raven Shadow, but
I'm a little mental sometimes. I appreciate their responsiveness to my needs, to my ask.
See, there you go.
You do teeter on the edge of insanity, Raven Shadow. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that's our new tagline: teetering on the edge of insanity for 10+ years.
On the brink, like Superman 4.
So. It's awesome to have Carlitos back. We appreciate all his support as a Patreon supporter. He's been there from the beginning, and we always love having him on for these takeovers. It's always a pleasure and always interested to see what he's got up his sleeve. But I'll go ahead and talk about the movies real quick here, and then what we'll do is when we jump into each film discussion, we'll have Carlitos give us a little bit of insight as to why he picked each one. But we will be talking about the films Project Wolf Hunting and also from Takashi Miike, Full Metal Yakuza. So we'll be talking about those two flicks. And so Carlitos, you could do kind of like a general, you don't have to give details about why you picked each film, but do you have like sort of a method when you come on? Or you like, oh, like, well, I'm going to try and, you know, like pick these kind of films, or did you have like some sort of method this time around?
Yeah, well, with all the films that I pick for the show, I always it kind of goes with what I think would make both a good review and fun to talk about, and it's even better when you guys haven't seen it. So like when I picked House for the first time I was on here.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I got the idea from the fact that you actually mentioned that you haven't seen House. And then I kind of figured maybe Raven Shadow didn't see House. And if Raven Shadow didn't see House, then Aries definitely didn't see House. Only one I would probably knew who would see House is MZ. So I go, well, that's perfect. Why not pick House?
Yeah.
So that came with that. Also with Buy Bust, we're all big fans of the Raid and stuff, and kind of in the wake that that film left, and Buy Bust fit in that category. So I just ended up picking that.
Mm-hmm.
And then and the same thing with Lady Terminator, kind of the same method with House. And same thing, hey, have you guys seen this? Pretty crazy movie. You never really talk about it, kind of that. And then and with Resident Evil, just seemed perfect. I had trouble picking out a second film, so I was like, oh, Resident Evil just came out on video. Why don't we just pick that?
Yeah,
fun to talk about that.
Yeah, and I'm glad I got a chance to see it. I'm a big fan of the at least the original games, the first couple. So yeah, I always love to see what you're gonna pick, and I hadn't seen either of these, and the other guys hadn't either, so they were perfect picks, and I am a big fan of Takashi Miike, and I know MZ is as well. And this is one that I hadn't seen prior, so it's always good to kind of check another box off of Miike's list of his 40 million films that he has out there.
That's a drop in a bucket, really.
Yeah.
It'd be a daunting task for completionists, to say the least.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There's got to be somebody out there that is.
I'm not even sure if all his films made it to the U.S. It's like,
yeah, probably not. Well,
yeah.
I was going to mention this later on, but maybe it's relevant now. I'm trying to remember when this was. It must have been around like. I'll actually look it up and see, but I had seen Happiness of the Katakoris in the theater. I think at the time, I might have been was I living in Boston at the time? I don't remember exactly. I think that was a little after. But anyways, at the time my brother worked at a poster store, and so he used to get he worked down the road from a lot of really cool like art house cinemas, and so he used to find out like a lot of the different movies that were coming out, and so he and some friends were like, oh, we got to go check out this movie from Takashi Miike called The Happiness of the Katakoris, and I'm so glad that I went, because that in the theater was a fucking ridiculous experience. Have you seen that one, Carlitos?
I actually haven't. It's in my queue in at least two services that I subscribe to. So
yeah.
I've been meaning to, but there's just time and I'll check it out. I definitely want to check it out.
It is totally worth your time. It is. It's jovial. It's goofy. It's bizarre.
Violent at times.
Violent. It's nightmarish, dreamlike, baroque.
It's a musical.
Yeah, I know it's a musical.
It's incredible. I was fortunate enough to see a BK film in the theater myself.
Yeah.
Went to go see Gozu.
Oh, that must have been nice.
Oh
wow.
God. I have never had an experience like that before in my life.
Yeah, and
that was total insanity.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Happiness of the Katakoris is also a remake. I want to check out the remake. It's I'm sorry, the original. The original is The Quiet Family. It's a Korean film, but Happiness of the Katakoris. I think it's I think it's pretty different because The Quiet Family is not a musical. So, yeah, that was a
love that
crazy
opening.
experience.
I love the opening scene in Happiness of the Katakuri's.
Yeah.
That little guy.
Oh my god, I love that guy. Yeah.
The little claymation figure. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the opening scene is a claymation scene, and it just gets more bizarre from there.
Yeah. It's been it's quite a few years since I've seen it. I'll have to revisit it sometime because it's such a fucking fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it maybe about 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice.
yeah, and it's still just nutty. It's just a nutty film. So worth your time.
I'll work it in this weekend.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely for sure.
Yeah.
Touch base with us with what you think of it.
Oh, I will definitely for sure.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that experience because it was crazy seeing that. But since then, I've been a big fan of Miike's stuff, and obviously some of his others, Audition, and I mean we've done a bunch on the show. We haven't checked in with Miike lately, so I mean maybe it's something where I'm trying to think. What was the last one we did from him?
Long overdue. I think it was his new film.
No,
Or at least
well,
No, at the time it was a new film.
right. First
He
Love.
probably had 10 films since then.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I don't know. It's been like maybe 5 years, so it's probably 70 films by now.
Yeah. I think it was First Love. That was the synopsis of that is a young boxer and a call girl get caught up in a drug smuggling scheme over the course of one night in Tokyo. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
So that was 2019.
I remember you guys did Blood of the Immortal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blade of the Immortal. That one was fucking awesome. And Yakuza Apocalypse, As the Gods Will. And
oh yeah, As the Gods Will. Yeah.
There was 13 Assassins. Fucking awesome.
Yes.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
I was going to bring up 13 Assassins, but I wasn't remembering as to whether or not it was a Miike film or not.
Yeah, that one was great.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's doing some TV stuff. He did do a sequel to The Great Yokai War called Guardians. Came out in 2021. I haven't seen the original, but I wouldn't mind checking that out sometime.
Have you guys seen Zebra Man?
No.
Okay.
Heard of it. Haven't seen it.
Well, it's one of his kids' films.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be kind of weird to watch or unique.
Yeah. We got some folks hanging out in the chat room. Let's see. We got Marion says, "Hey guys, hey Carlitos."
Hey Marion.
And Evil Corny says, "Itchy the Killer was the first Miike film that I remember seeing." And he also says, "Hey to you, Carlitos."
Hey, I can't wait to hear what he thinks about Project Wolf Hunting.
So yeah, Miike is a very interesting director. He's had a crazy career. Yeah, he's been doing some TV stuff, which is interesting because he was like always film director, but now that streaming and TV is a much more widespread thing. I think everyone's getting in on it. But he has a series called Connect. That's like a crime drama fantasy. I recognize the main actor. Is this? Let me just see if it's who I think it is. Oh no, okay. That was another actor, but it's not. But yeah, so that's cool. I wouldn't mind checking out some of his TV stuff as well. But he has I think his last film was called Mole Song Final. It says trilogy about a cop who goes undercover and becomes a fully fledged Yakuza. And it's an action comedy crime. I'm sure that's pretty interesting. It looks like one of the guys on the poster looks like Okada from New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's not, but it looks a little like him. So, yeah, I don't know if he has anything coming up, but he's definitely slowed down. That's for sure. But, I mean, the dude's put out so many great movies over the years. So, yeah, looking forward to talking about Miike, especially a little bit of an older one. let's check on all the chat rooms real quick. We did just get a voice message from First Time Mike, so that's awesome. Looking forward to hearing from FTM. But how about you, Carlitos? Anything else going on? You digging anything? I know you've been playing some video games and whatnot. Anything else you are excited to talk about?
I mean, video games. Yeah, I've been on a super mega survival horror kick lately with Dead Space, and it's just been a constant. Yeah, Callisto Protocol, I had Dead Space. Now Resident Evil's coming out next week. The new one. So I've been just kind of digging that. Also, I've been dodging waves and water and and all kinds of stuff. It just won't stop raining. Actually, we're getting a break today, but I think it starts raining again next week. But other than that, I just I'm in transition with a new job, which I applied for, and it's back to the old industry I'm happy with doing. And I did like my previous job, but as it's in the tech industry, so I don't have to explain too much why I had to leave. So but other than that, that's about it. Nothing too exciting, unfortunately.
Well, sometimes that's for the best if it's not too exciting.
Yeah,
sometimes too much excitement is a bad thing. But well, it's
hopefully when the summer comes, it'll.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome having you back here again. Raven Shadow, actually, one thing I saw earlier today, I want to get your thoughts on. You being one of the biggest Clark suckers I know. Did you hear? There was rumors, but I think it's been confirmed now by the man himself. But James Gunn will be directing the new Superman movie.
I'm really excited, man. I'm a huge James Gunn mark. I mean, I was a mark from Slither, in this journey, and I actually re-listened to him on an early episode of Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I just every time you say it, I get douche chills when I hear you say Inside of You. Say it real slow.
Inside of You.
Oh,
Inside
God.
of you.
Creep.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
Imagine having a night terror, waking up to that.
Oh,
to
God.
that being
It's fun. Every once in a while. But no, it's the name of the program, not being lewd. But no, he's a passionate and a plucky spirit for talking about shit. Actually, I forget, we talked about this before. Mary and I rewatched Super. I saw it.
That's good, yeah.
It was her first time, and I think he really has a love for the genre, and I'm super excited for him. So I'm looking forward.
One thing I saw him say in his announcement when he made the announcement today, he said that he actually got offered Superman in the past and he turned it down because he said he didn't really have a hook for how to do it. If you do Superman, you got to do it right, So he said he didn't really have an in to really make it work. But he said this time around he wrote the script and they were really pushing for him to direct it, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to, but I guess he finally agreed to it. So
that's awesome, man, and I think he'll do great. I think he's a mark for. He said he is a comic book fan. He's a mark for.
Well, I hope so. If he's fucking heading up DC now.
B and C-list characters, and I think he just really enjoys.
What about A-list characters?
Yes, Captain Corny. It's Amazing Friends.
Okay, so his name is going to be attached to 3 different superhero movies now. Superman, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Toxic Avenger Part 4, Citizen Toxic.
Well, we forgot Suicide Squad, so 4.
Oh, so Suicide Squad. I forgot about that. Well,
and Super.
And Super.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And Peacekeeper.
And Brightburn, right? Brightburn. He was a producer, I think, or
produced Brightburn, right? Right. He didn't direct it. He produced it, right?
He didn't direct it. Yeah. He was a producer. I think his brothers wrote it or something like that. One or two of his brothers. So
damn, what the hell, James Gunn, huh?
MZ, what do you? I know you were a fan of James Gunn's early work. You probably haven't been keeping up with his superhero stuff, but what do you think of him directing Superman? Is it going to make you interested at all?
No.
I figured.
No,
I still
not
think,
at all.
I still think you would like the Suicide Squad, the second one.
MZ, just please, I will buy you Coney Island next time you're up here. Okay, listen to me.
Let me.
It's very
now,
crude.
I don't. Now I don't know for certain, but is Will Smith in Suicide Squad?
No,
Not the
No.
James Gunn one.
not the James Gunn.
Okay.
Idris Elba is. He took over.
Yeah,
kind
Idris
of.
Elba. Yep. And Christopher Pratt isn't in it either.
Good.
I want.
Can't stand-
Has there ever been a movie with Chris Pratt and Will Smith in it at the same time?
Oh my God.
That'd be
Well,
like
you know what?
MZ's nightmare.
Never see them in the same room together. They might be the same guy.
Yeah, it's true.
I like to condense all my hate into one person rather than split up into two.
Condense my hate.
It'd be like a torture sequence with him, like in a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Have his eye open.
I'm gonna be
Stop.
That's so good. They could have shown scenes from Full Metal Yakuza in place of the stuff they showed Alex DeLarge in that scene. Jeez.
Yeah.
The fucking Let It Be Go treatment should have been on fucking, Nickelodeon back in the day compared to this picture.
Yeah.
Like, find his keepers, and then, Full Metal fucking.
Yakuza? Is that what you mean?
I meant that.
What about you thinking about Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
I think he was about to say jacket, but stopped himself. No one.
So yeah, looking forward to talking about both these movies. Pretty interesting picks. Let's see. Is there anything else going on? MZ, any coffin corners this week?
No, not to my knowledge. Hey, but let's touch base with what happened at the Oscars.
Okay. Oh,
Just for a little while.
Good
just
call.
for a little while.
Good call.
And of course, a lot of there were some horror people that won. Of course, the big one, of course, is Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, and she gave a shout out to the horror community.
Yep.
I mean, she referenced us as genre fans, but I'm okay with that. She knows, we know who she's talking about. And congratulations to her because she was phenomenal in Everything Everywhere. Just a really good performance and well earned. Although I got to tell you, there isn't. I'd be lying if I didn't think that there was a part of me that the theme of this show was based on sediment.
Sediment?
Like the leaves and the dirt and water?
No. Sentiment.
Okay.
All these dirty old
Not
actors.
MZ's feeling all sedimental.
Sentiment. And because of Brendan Fraser, he was out of it for a while. Then he came back and he won. Jamie Lee
It's a
Curtis.
mental patient.
It's not like it's not like they don't deserve it. Of course they do. They were great. I would love to see The Whale. I can't wait to see that. I want to see that. But and another one to a much lesser degree was Sarah Polley, who won for best screenplay for Talking Women, or Women Talking. Women Talking. And horror fans know Sarah Polley as the female lead in the remake to Dawn of the Dead. So she quit acting, she became a screenwriter, and now she just won her first Oscar, which is great. But I'm really happy about Jamie Lee Curtis, and the fact that she acknowledged us, and just a let's put it this way. No one else really did that. I mean, when Misery was winning, nobody really thanked the horror fans. Silence of the Lambs, nobody thanked the horror industry. But Jamie Lee, she was the first one to do it, and it's high time that this category gets that this genre of film gets notarized more. It's about
Notarized?
notarized.
We got a notary republic in the place here? Raven Chow, are you notary? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm authorized. I'm duly deputized to notarize,
Deputized to notarize.
And you're pasteurized, and I'm going to cauterize you.
I'm supersized, baby. Come on now, son.
Circumcised.
I'm notarized and circumcised. That's our next album title.
Notarized and circumcised.
Pasteurized and cauterized.
Oh shit!
But look, I had a little bit to drink tonight. Okay, so I'm not.
What? You had something to drink?
Oh my god!
You hardly ever drink.
Oh shit!
You changed, man. Being in fucking Maine.
What it means to be from Maine.
What has Maine done to you?
Yeah, you changed, man.
Carlitos, it's a hard life. I'm dealing with bears and maple leaves and hockey players.
Hockey players?
Is Canada even?
Yeah, you're not even in Canada. You're in Maine.
I'm about as close to Canada as I could get.
Like, honey, the hockey players are here.
I plan on going to Canada. One of these days. But no, I'm pleased that Jamie Lee gave notice to the horror community at the Oscars, and she was building it up too. She was like hundreds of thousands. She was really building us up. We won this Oscar.
MZ's like, yeah, she pretty much named me by name. It's cool.
No. Look, we're all a community. Everybody in the horror community is in on this, and Jamie Lee took us for the ride, and we enjoyed it, and we're happy for her. I mean, didn't you guys feel that way when she won?
It was cool. I was more happy for Michelle Yeoh, to be honest, but
Yo.
I was actually surprised that Ki Hai Kwan won.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy practically disappeared until this movie came out, basically. Yeah. And here he is winning a Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. And he did say, he did mention Goonies.
Yeah. He was happy.
You know what's funny?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I forgot that he was in Encino Man. But Brendan Fraser and Ki Hui Kwan, from Encino Man, won Oscars. It's fucking crazy. And, I guess I didn't watch the Oscars. I just watched some of the speeches after. But I guess I don't remember his name. Who's the host? What's the dude's name?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Kimmel, yeah. I guess he mentioned Pauly Shore in his opening or something like that.
Yeah, and Pauly Shore's sitting in his own filth in some Beverly Hills house.
Jesus. That's mean.
Fuck Pauly Shore.
What did he ever do to you? Make Biodome?
He made those stupid ass movies. That's what he did.
Well, his movies made Brendan Fraser and Ki Hui Kwan. I guess Ki probably made a name for himself elsewhere, but but still.
I had to do a Biodome. I'm sorry. I love fucking Biodome.
I know you're gaga for Biodome. That I know.
Yeah.
Why do you like it so much?
It just appeals to me. It was a big. Maru loves that movie. Me and Joey Tron. But no, like for Ki Hui Kwan, like
Ki Hui Kwan. What?
Ki Hui Kwan.
Just call him Ki, okay?
Yeah.
Just call him Data, just to
Yeah. Data.
He was short round.
or
he
short stack or short ribs, whatever.
Short stack.
And I was
Short
even,
kid.
I was talking to Marion today, like, I've been screaming for years, and you guys know this. If there was ever a new indie picture, I want the reunification of him in Short Round. Not happening in this go around. But how dope would it be if coming into the new indie picture, you got fucking Academy Award winning fucking Short Round with 700-year-old Harrison Ford? That's a movie.
Did you see the footage where Data and Harrison Ford was all happy to see each other, hugging?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did see
Yeah.
that. It was kind of cool.
Key High was really happy.
Yeah.
Really happy. Like, his hands up and hugging him and stuff.
So
he was
So I
thrilled.
just
I
looked
was
up.
happy.
I just looked up Ki Huy Kwan's filmography, see if he's going to be doing anything now that he's a big Oscar winner. And his next film is called The Electric State from the Russo brothers,
Really?
and it stars Ki Huy Kwan, Millie Bobby Brown, who's 11 from Stranger Things,
Jesus.
Anthony Mackie,
Jesus.
Chris Pratt.
He's like, I'm out.
Yeah, MZ was like, I was digging it until that point. Stanley Tucci, fucking Stanley Tucci, Giancarlo Esposito, Brian
Jeez.
Cox, Jason Alexander, Billy Bob Thornton.
Damn.
It's pretty fucking crazy. I don't even know, like, is it oh, it's animated, that's why. Okay, so that makes more sense, because otherwise that's a huge fucking cast to pay. But yeah, it says an orphan teenager traverses the American West with a sweet but mysterious robot and an eccentric drifter in search of her younger brother. So he's doing that. I guess he's going to be in Loki, in the TV series Loki. But yeah, I would like to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once again, because that was by far my favorite movie from last year, and ended up being our number one film for the year. And let me just look. I was looking to see. I couldn't remember if Parasite was our number one film the year it won the Oscars, and it was not. It was number 4, but it was rated very highly on a lot of our lists. So it's always kind of interesting when Oscar winners, when we end up doing Oscar winners and they end up being pretty high on our list. It's always kind of funny, I think.
I was wondering about it earlier today. As a matter of fact, I was a little slow in thinking this, but I'm like, now that Jamie Lee Curtis has won an Oscar, I wonder what that does for any possible returns to the Halloween franchise. Because I haven't seen the latest
you don't
trilogy.
give a fuck.
I have no intention of seeing the latest trilogy. None. So I have no idea what happened. Zero. But but now that she's an Oscar winner, I wonder what that does to the franchise. If they ever think about bringing her back.
I'm sure her price went up.
Oh, tenfold, I'm sure.
Well, they would have to start another thread, I would assume. Given, I don't want to reveal too much for those who haven't seen it yet, but
yeah, I still haven't seen. I only saw the first of the new ones, and I know MZ doesn't give a fuck. You haven't seen any of them, right?
None.
Will you ever?
No.
First one's real good. I guess I actually like the sequels, but most people will probably give or take them.
Look, there's only one good Halloween film, and this is it.
God, I hate that movie.
Really?
This is it, right?
Do you?
I'm not a fan of 3 at all. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What's funny is I actually haven't heard too many people say that. Most people seem to be fans of that. Are you more of a fan of the traditional films with Michael Myers in them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but just to be clear, it's not because Michael Myers is not in Halloween. I actually like the idea of Halloween starting off as a trilogy after he supposedly died in the second one, I just didn't think it was that good. There's plot holes and plot devices I just couldn't get past as far as buying it and stuff like that. I just couldn't get past it. Couldn't get past it first time way back in the day when I first saw it. And then after people started praising it again, I was like, I'll give it a chance. I even bought it, and I was like, I bought one of the Scream Factory sets, and I'm like, I'll buy it. Maybe I'll change my mind on it. And, no, I didn't. I still felt the same. So.
Well, there you go. Well, how did Carlos? What do you think about Dr. Loomis parking in a handicap spot?
Hey, he's a. Did we get a look? Was there okay? So I don't know if you guys noticed, but sometimes handicap stickers are on the license plate. Did we see the license plate? It's been a while since I saw the movie, but maybe he had it on the license plate and we didn't see it. So he could very well be. He's an older guy, might have some heart condition or something like that. It's the 70s. He probably quit smoking like that.
Well,
he was like.
He's definitely got some mental issues. He's more dangerous than Michael Myers ever was.
Dr. Loomis, the handicapped parking bandit. Jesus.
Son of a bitch. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I have to park in the handicapped zone.
So I was looking back to see.
He's an A-lister.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he is an A-lister.
I could park in the handicap zone.
I pay my bills. I am an A-lister. I deserve to park in handicap spots.
I am the doctor of this facility.
I didn't go to medical school for 15 years to park somewhere else.
There, see, it's a masterpiece now.
Yeah, right. That must be it.
All right. You know what? I think maybe we should start to wrap this up because we got 2 movies to talk about. I want to make sure we give them enough attention. In the chat room, Leanna's back hanging out. Leanna says, "Hey guys, I'm home from the county fair."
Nice.
All right. MZ, have you been to the county fair?
No, I have not. They won't allow me back in after what I did to the pigs.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, man. All right, so we'll start to wrap things up here because I'm curious to hop into these movies. We're going to talk about Project Wolf Hunting first, but before we do that, we're going to let you guys know that you can help support the show a few ways. The best way, and the way that Carlitos earned his Patreon takeover was through Patreon. So you can head on over to patreon.trickortreatradio.com and you can support for as little as $2 a month. And then if you want your own Patreon takeover, there's higher tiers. You can get access to Discord and all that. So give that a look, patreon.trickortreatradio.com, and consider supporting. We just released was it last week, I think? Yeah, we did it last weekend. We released our new Patreon exclusive episode. It was sort of an extension of a discussion we had on the show a couple weeks ago about marketing in the analog age versus the digital age. And so we talked a little bit about that and some of the experiences that we had when we were younger that affected us, where marketing worked and affected us. And we ended up doing, we're going to turn it to a 2-parter. And the next part, we're going to talk more about the digital marketing in the digital age of film and kind of compare and contrast a bit. So if you guys want to hear that, it's available on the Patreon feed, patreon.trickortreatradio.com. All right. The other ways you can help support, head on over to trickortreatradio.com, click on the Amazon logo. It's on the front page. Scroll down. You see it there. You click it. It's going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link. And then everything you purchase in that session will get attributed to us. It doesn't cost them any extra, Michael Raven Shadow.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. We need the help keeping the lights on. And finally, you can head to trickortreatradio.com, click on store, and we have the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio, volumes 1 through 3. It's a little sampler of the first 6 or 7, maybe 8 years of the show. You know, we've been doing it for 10 plus years. We don't expect everyone to go back and listen to every single episode. If you want to, be my guest. But if you want to hear some of the highlights and lowlights, midlights, everything in between, we got some of the interviews, we got some of the songs, some of the arguments, all that stuff. It's in there. Give it a look, give it a listen, and support. Let's see. Oh, Leanna says, "Damn it, I only came in the end." We're just getting started, Leanna. This is the end of the intro, and then we're gonna hop into the film discussions. So, Evil Courtney says Loomis was a gun-toting doctor. He breaks all the rules. Hippocratic oath be damned.
True.
It's true. And all right, Michael Ravenshadow, you sit down to watch 2 films this week. You got Project Wolf Hunting. You got Full Metal Yakuza. What do you do to prepare for the show with our boy Carlitos?
Oh, I had a weird fucking dream the other night, Johnny. I'll tell you.
That's how you prepare, okay?
Yeah, it's fucking weird. So I wake up, and I'm at my work job, my 9-to-5 job, and where the office is, it's off of a loading dock. So, and Wolfie, you were there many years ago. You came by. I'd give you an envelope, if you remember, back in early 2000s.
I don't remember there. What?
I was there, but
Okay,
regardless,
in the early 2000s.
there was a loading dock. Yeah, probably 2000.
Jesus Christ.
2, I think. There's a Raven shot ready to come out. Yeah, just go with the flow. I'm telling you a story.
All right.
If it brought something to light, it didn't. But it's commotion, right? And I'm like, all right, what's going on? And I opened the door, and all of a sudden, it was like being in a sitcom. Like, even though he's a piece of shit, that Bill Cosby episode when he opens the door and it's Stevie Wonder. Remember that one? And he comes in, but in the dream, it's Karando Satake. What the fuck? Why is Karando here? And he tells me his bus breaks down. I shake his hand, go to give him a hug, and then walks Hayate from Karate Kill. And the laugh track goes on, and then I wake up.
Okay. At first, I thought you were still talking about when we did that handoff. I was like, wait, it's like that. I don't remember them being there. Okay, I gotcha. Courtney says, was that a payoff? He was asking if it was a payoff.
Yeah, it's with The Office back in the day.
Okay. That I see. Why didn't you mention that? I thought you meant your work office.
Yeah, my work office. Remember we had
but I wasn't thinking in terms of our old office that we used to have an office in the downtown Worcester area.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, so I dreamed about Karando. That's awesome. What are you gonna do?
After you dreamed about him, did you do that next thing?
Yeah, strapped on. What would you do? Come on now.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
we have action.
horror.
An adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast,
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
a podcast for the barbarian at heart.
I'm Mike Allred. For the gidgiest listening experience, you got to check out Trick or Treat Radio.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glory is a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the cult of muscle.
I could be standing outside a woman's prison in a fistful of 50s and a bouquet of dildos, and no woman would come near me.
Did you say a bouquet of dildos?
And we have returned on Jerkatry Radio. And, well, two of us have. Thank you, Carlos.
I'm not even on the show, and I'm like the first one here. What am I paying you guys for?
Yeah, I wonder that. I wonder why people pay us at all. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So first up, we're going to be talking about the film Project Wolf Hunting. And let's see. Let me pull up some of the details here. This film, I'm actually trying to remember. I think this got a release late in 22 or early 23. I don't recall exactly when it was released, but it is an action crime horror film, and it's written and directed by Hong Sung Kim. And the film stars Seo In-guk, Dong Yoon Young, Young So Min, Gui Ha Choi, Dong Il Sung, Park Ho San, and Chang Seok Ko. This has a huge cast, so I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not gonna continue. There's so many different people that are in this. And the synopsis of this film: Project Wolf Hunting follows dangerous criminals on a cargo ship who are transported from the Philippines to South Korea as they unleash a sinister force after an escape attempt leads to a riot. So, Carlitos, fill us in. What made you choose this film for us to discuss on the show this evening?
Well, I haven't heard of this movie until Cult of Muscle reviewed it a few weeks ago. And it is mainly due to that review that made me want to watch it. And then when I knew I was coming up on the show, I think by that point I already told you what I wanted to, that I picked Full Metal Yakuza, but I haven't picked the second movie yet.
Yep. So
I went ahead and watched this, and and after I was done, I was like, yeah, I gotta. This is it. This is movie number 2. Yeah, this is gonna be fun to talk about. So that's pretty much what came down to it. I'm actually surprised that this movie hadn't really generated much buzz up until now. Really, if we're just buzzing about it.
Yeah.
So. That's it. That's how I found out.
Well, I will say I'm definitely glad you brought this to our attention. It was sort of on my radar. I had seen it and I was like, I looked it up and the synopsis is very, I try not to put too much stock in, something like a synopsis or whatever, but I feel like the synopsis really did a disservice to this film. And granted, I like being surprised, so when it says they unleash a sinister force, that's so generic, but also it's probably a good thing that it was generic because there's definitely some surprises and shocks in this movie that I didn't expect. So
there's that turn that's kind of like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah. Excuse me?
Yeah. What's happening now?
Yeah. So yeah, and I like being surprised like that. It was really, really interesting. So I'm actually not familiar with this director. I know we've checked out a pretty good amount of South Korean films over the years, and let's see, he's done some ones I've heard of. He did let's see, The Con Artists. I'm trying to think if it was 2014. Another one called The Chase, which I think I heard some decent things about that one. But yeah, so this is the first film that I've seen from the director, and it's hard to know. I recognize some of the actors in this, but I just can't recall what I've seen them in offhand. But it it had a really big kind of ensemble cast, and also some pretty at times brutal violence. We've seen a pretty good amount of South Korean films, and I think this may be the most violent one I've ever seen.
Easily.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So, well, let's dive in and let's talk about this. One thing I will say is it's always fun when during the week, MZ Raven Shadow and I we talk here and there during the week. We don't have like in-depth conversations usually because, we spend hours talking on Thursday nights. I think that's all we need. But every once in a while when we're watching a movie, Raven Shadow will send a yo text to the group. And then I'll just know that he is like psyched to talk about a movie or something happened that he was like flipping out about. So let me kick it over to you, Raven Shadow. What created the yo in this?
I mean, I don't know where to begin, but I mean, definitely it was building up to a crescendo to the fucking denouement. That's for fucking.
It's building up to a crescendo to the denouement.
Yeah.
How many other like descriptive terms do you want to put in there? You want to add a few more?
That might be all I have.
Maybe a dessert in there or something like
nice,
the grand finale.
Yeah, it's like a spicy b-ball. You know what I mean? It's nice cannoli. No, but like, I have a different synopsis that I think I would, and you guys know, most folks know, I love describing a movie like if I'm on like 10-minute break on a smoke break, and I would go more of like it's like Korean Con Air if the inmates from Arkham Asylum and the Korean Gotham PD were on the boat.
How did I know you were going to bring up Con Air? Like, I just had a feeling at some point during this discussion that you were going to bring it up, but continue.
I mean, what gave it away? The intro? But like, so you have these like, and not that they're like super villain characters, but a lot of the villains have their own gimmick. There's obviously the dude with the fucking, tats, the beard and the ponytail. Everyone has their kind of a look. So it's like, then you add the potential something else, mystery of it. You put a super soldier thing in there. A little bit of fucking Friday the 13th. This is fucking nuts.
This is fucking nuts. All right, MZ, how about you? Any sort of initial takes on this one?
Ditto. No. Well, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I know that whatever I was going to be seeing, I felt like the synopsis wasn't doing it justice. Whatever, I just felt like whatever this movie was going to be, somehow I felt like the synopsis was wrong. It just didn't feel right. It didn't sound right. Then when I watch it and I'm like, well, okay, all right. Yeah, but it's definitely hyper violent and super gory. I mean, the violence is everywhere, and there's just it's quick action too. There's some decent fight scenes going on and shit. The gore is everywhere. I mean, you can't escape it. I mean, I would say percentage wise, every scene that had some sort of violence or gore in it, I'd say it weighs out about maybe 80% to 20% violence to no violence, and that is a very conservative estimate. But I was anxious to see what this was all about, and just it did have, like you said, Wolfie, there were some names there that triggered my memory, but I just couldn't place them. And at that point, I really wasn't in the right frame of mind to go check this out. Do some research on it. But there was definitely some guys there that looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking forward to it. I was definitely looking forward to this.
And for me, like I said, this was one that I sort of had looked at earlier in the year or late last year, I don't remember. And there was just nothing that really stood out about it. And there was a lot of other really good movies that I kept seeing show up on lists and stuff. So unfortunately, it kind of got pushed a little bit. But that's why I'm really glad that Carlitos brought this to the show this week, because otherwise I might have just missed it. But it's it's all those things. It's maybe close to it. It's the fights aren't as good as The Night Comes for Us, but the violence is close to on par. I still think Night Comes for Us is still more violent and bloody, but this is definitely in the conversation.
But that's why I jumped in. Like, they were both Korean, right?
No.
I'm sorry.
Night Comes for Us is Timo, who directed it, is oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Indonesian.
Indonesian, yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's from Jakarta. So Indonesian. But yeah, I'm glad we checked this out, and I think this is going to be fun to talk about. So, Carlitos, you already kind of explained why you picked it, but what did you have any kind of initial thoughts when your first time you watched it? Like, I think you said you heard Cult of Muscle talk about it first before you checked it out. Is that the order?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah. I haven't heard of this film before they reviewed the film. So and it's kind of funny because I'm not sure if because I listen to podcasts while I work, so I wasn't sure if I wasn't paying attention enough, or they did a really good job of hiding turns in the film.
Yeah.
But I knew the general plot, like the synopsis does kind of describe what happens in the film. It just doesn't really tell what you're gonna expect in the film, basically, But the first quarter of the film is as described. Prisoners break out, and some mayhem ensues. Some cops trying to either fight them off or survive, and then something wakes up, and it just basically turns into like a full bore slasher film for a good portion of the movie. I mean, and I was just like, wow, this is a turn, and I'm digging it, and it just from there I was just waiting to see what unfolds from there, And
Yeah, it's basically Friday the 13th all the way to Freddy versus Jason all in one film.
Yeah, yeah,
As far as the violence goes.
yeah. I think it outgores the whole franchise.
It just might. It just might. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it's not just the violence, or rather, it's not just the gore, but the violence in how people die in this film. You know, and there's some serious, you know, hardcore Jason Voorhees type shit going on here.
I mean, there's so many good ones. I think one of the most shocking ones was that main bad dude, the one that was all tatted up. I thought for sure that dude was like a main character, right? Like something he was going to be around. And I hope I'm not ruining it for anyone, but I feel like this movie, it kind of like Carlito said when he heard Cult of Muscle talk about it, I feel like you can still hear people talk about it and not really know what to expect still. And even if you do know, it's not like there's twists and turns that you need to be aware of or not aware of, rather. I feel like it's okay to know a little bit of what's going into this before it happens. So, you know, we don't need to give away tons of spoilers, but I think we can be a little bit more liberal in talking about it than we normally are. But yeah, when one character dies, like the way he dies is fucking horrible. His like arm gets knocked off with a hammer, I think it was, or like it was basically like a big hammer. And he just
severed it with a hammer, a sledgehammer.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, and he gets just fucking pummeled and demolished. It's pretty fucking brutal. And you guys are right. It feels like a slasher. Like when this one character appears, it's totally like a slasher. And you know, they set up what seems like this big kind of like not really a high concept. I don't mean high concept, but it's a very basic premise, but it's very convoluted the way that it's like set up. Like, okay, where everyone, you know, we have all these cops assigned to prisoners. They're transporting prisoners from the Philippines to Korea. I think if I'm, was that the
that's what.
And you know, so it's like this whole thing, and you know, all the police have to go lock up their own prisoners and kind of read them their rights and all this, and so it's like a big setup, and then there's tons of people on the ship. I'm guessing there's like, I don't know, 30 prisoners or something, and then each one has like a corresponding cop, and then there's the crew, you know, who's you know, driving the boat and taking care of it and everything. So there is a ton of people, and the reason they do this too is I think it was 2017 they were doing this before. They had transferring prisoners, but it was out in public on like at the airport, and some dude basically had an explosion, like a suicide bombing kind of deal, and blew a bunch of people up, and so they're trying to do this years later and to try to make sure that there wasn't a big spectacle around it, you know. So they did it on a big ocean liner. So yeah, it's kind of like a crazy setup to get to where you go, but then when you know kind of why they do this setup, it makes sense because there's a lot of disposable people. It's pretty nutty.
There is a bunch of people that are there just to get killed off, you know, to ramp up that kill count. But the impressive thing is that is that the fashion in which these extras, I guess you could call them, die. You know, they might just be extras as far as the film is concerned, but the way they're killed off is done like as if they were all the main character in this film, and they get this grandiose send off, and it could be, you know, hail of bullets, it could be knifings, with crazy knife fights in this movie, and also to just your standard slasher fare, but it's amped up. there's this one guy, I won't say who it is, but there's this one guy who gets killed off where his head is being stepped on, and you can see all the blood just coming out of his head. And I'm watching that scene really, really intensely, really closely, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell they did it, because you see the victim laying there, you see the blood pouring out of his head, but you see it pouring out of his nose. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell did they pull that off? I mean, it's lingering there for a good 5 seconds, and you could see the blood pouring out of his nose. It's not a CGI effect. It's all practical. A lot of these effects are all practical. Very well done, by the way. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, how the hell did they do that? I'm sure it had to do with like maybe tubes and these really, really microscopic tubes that go up and inside the nose and the blood pours out. But that ain't it, because I mean the guy's nose is right there in front of the camera. You could see it happening, and it's killing me how the hell they did that. But that's the case with all these deaths, man. It's just that every character, no matter how minor, it gets this huge send off in a death scene. It's crazy.
I think one of my favorites was the nurse.
Oh yeah.
She fucking sold that so well. I was like, holy shit! Like, she made that feel like it was like such a huge moment when it was just sort of like a bit character, I don't know why. That's one that stood out to me. That and the other one I already mentioned. There was some gnarly violence for sure in this.
One thing I want to go back to, Wolfie, though, like speaking about the ensemble cast, I love the opening shot with the suicide bomber, which obviously had a connection to one of the inmates he's trying to get final. I love the way the blood flowed down on that scene. But I think there was a great moment, much like in James Gunn's Suicide Squad, obviously the helicopter ride in Predator, scene in Aliens, where we got to know the prisoners, where they gave their, Miranda rights and read them their stuff. You got a sense of, okay, this guy with the fucking whole body Yakuza tat is kind of like the Joker of the prison. And is getting, you got to know, okay, the one guy, is he the Steve Buscemi guy from Con Air? What the fuck's up with this guy? So you get a sense of them and the female prisoners too. So I think you got, even though with a large cast, I think you got attached to the various players fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Whether you hated them or loved them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they all had some opportunity to shine. There's a couple characters that really stand out. One being like, one of the main characters who's around. And then, there's the kind of Yakuza, like tatted up dude. And even like some of the, like the main like woman prisoner. Like there's that one scene where she's on the toilet.
Getting her nails done.
Yeah, getting her nails
done. Right.
She has no shame. She's like, she mentioned something about like, what, you never seen a chick take a shit before or something like that?
Yeah, like just,
door wide open.
It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of characters have really big moments to just, kind of show off their personality. And then that way you sort of identify whether you're rooting for them or you're not. And then also, as we've mentioned already, the deaths, like each one feels like it is like the main character dying, because there's like a focus on almost all of them. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and a running time at just over 2 hours, with a cast this large, you have the time to give us a little background or give us an idea as to what their personality is like. We don't have to know everybody, but just the main players enough to know who we're dealing with here. So it's paced out well, paced out nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted because Raven Shadow's camera was frozen. I tried to refresh it, and now it's gone.
What the fuck?
Well, you're not frozen on one computer, but you're frozen on another. I don't understand why that happens. I'll try to figure it out though. It's not. Yeah, I don't think you have to do anything.
Should we take a break then? Probably, huh?
If you wanted to, now's the time. No one will know unless I get it back soon. So, let's see. Do we want to talk about the big shift? I mean, I feel like we kind of need to talk about the big shift of when this movie sort of takes a turn. Like,
yeah, it's not like a big plot twist.
Yeah, it's not a big spoiler.
It's just a
'cause
turn.
if you didn't,
It's like,
because I mean, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't have the movies. So it's not like you're surprising anybody.
It's behind Carlitos on his camera.
Yeah,
there he is. That's the twist. There's a turn. I mean,
yeah.
Yep.
Meaning I'm dead. You know?
Yeah, if he's nearby, yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, I think every person that shared a screen with this guy here died immediately.
Yeah.
Got torn to shreds, literally.
Yeah.
So there is, without giving too much, we don't have to give the whole backstory, but he was part of an experiment from, I don't know, I think he was over 100 years old. I can't remember. I think it was
1943. Yeah, he was born in like 1911.
Yep.
And
it was like
in 1943, he was part of an experiment what was it for? Now I'm blanking.
I think to build super soldiers.
Yeah, basically,
yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, and so he's basically been on ice, like, and he's in the sort of like basement or bottom of this boat, and then someone has paid him or hired him to basically awaken him on the boat, and they did it under the sort of like the guise of like having a prison break, so that that can be sort of like the what sort of masks everything that's going on. But yeah, and things just start to get fucking nuts from there. Like, there's so many people that this dude kills. It's insane.
Can I ask a question? Did the guy, when the guy was laying on the bed or wherever the heck it was like whether he was on, it didn't look like ice. He was on these little cylinder things. But did he look like a corpse, like a straight corpse, like a bony corpse before he started waking up? Because I swear that's what I thought when they first showed it. Like he was almost burnt to a crisp up until he woke up when he took the mask off. You guys, did you guys see that, or I'm just tripping?
He definitely looked dead.
Yeah, I thought it was
whether he was skeletal or not. I don't remember but when you say it, you almost like trigger that kind of a memory in my head saying like maybe he was.
Yeah,
I know. I don't think so. Now that I think about it, I don't think so. I think he still looked the same lying in state as he did afterwards.
Maybe that's what my brain just put together when I initially saw him. Nope. Here we go.
Yeah, I was just trying to get Ramchow back.
Oh, okay.
All right, cool. I got you back without having to restart your thing, Raven Channel, so I think you're good.
Cool. Hello.
I got you back. You don't have to say anything. Test. Hello. Is this thing on? Do.
Hello,
Mr. DeBergy. Well, speaking of Mr. DeBergy, or I guess Christopher Guest, it was he obviously he's married to Jamie Lee Curtis, but he was in the front row of the Oscars.
Yeah.
All right. So what else? What else can we talk about this fucking movie, man? It's
Have you ever seen a guy get beaten to death by his own severed arm in a film before?
You know, I want to say that I have, but I can't.
Yeah,
I can't think
It
of.
feels like something you might have seen, but I don't think I could think of something. Like I don't think I could think of a movie that had
Yeah.
that.
I mean, let's list some of the more cool deaths that happen. There's a head crush. There's people getting thrown around all over the place by this guy. There was one there that I liked. It was like a chest rip, but I think it was like his chest plate was ripped out of his body or something like that.
I think he ripped out a heart too.
Yeah. I think it was like one of the first deaths going in the film. But I mean, the story does come across a little convoluted now and again, because after a while you're kind of lost in this sea of violence and mayhem and agony and torture that you're watching, and death and gory death. I mean, you get so involved in that the story itself kind of takes a back seat. And when you do finally start to remember that there is a story involved, you almost kind of forget what story buildup was going on prior to the last death scene that you just watched. Because those scenes are really long. They take several minutes to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets to the point where they last for so long that, well, from my experience, you kind of forget what the story is, and then when you try to get yourself back into gear as to what the story is about, you kind of lose focus of it, and then perhaps you feel that maybe the story's not connecting the right way.
So
because this is a movie this is a movie that's only based on pure violence and not
listen to you.
Really story driven.
It's not like the magnum opus that's butt crack.
Yeah.
That's right. Don't ever forget that.
Human. Turn the cat around. No. But no,
Thought that
like,
tail was something else for a minute there.
It's true.
Is April punching us?
Yeah.
Hey, April.
That's a middle finger. But like, I don't.
Only MC.
This isn't a Monocle Monday movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think because Marion came over today, and I was halfway through the picture, and I'd catch up to speed. So it's almost like watching like 70s, kung fu theater type movies. Like, all right, here's the bad guys, here's the good guys, here's the restaurant. They want to take the restaurant. They're gonna fuck each other up. And once you kind of get the cut of its jib, and then it's a weird From Dusk Till Dawn meets fucking a hybrid type picture. Why is there a weird Black Ops SHIELD group in the beginning? I don't know. We figure it out later, and it does tell us the story. Like, it gives you a lot, but at the end of the day, once you get the fact they're fighting crazy super soldier Jason Voorhees, it's fucking awesome.
It's funny to hear MZ say, like, I kind of wish I had less violence and more story. Like, that's what I feel like you're saying.
Oh, no. That's not what
Okay.
I'm saying. I'm saying that there's so much violence going on that the story that's being told kind of takes a back seat. And when the time comes that the story kicks back into gear again, that you kind of forget what the story's about. And then you feel that it becomes convoluted because you're trying to match up with what you're watching now from what you watched prior from before the last violence scene. That's
Because you're thinking like, how'd she become a nurse? How many years of school did she have? Was it a scholarship?
Was she first in her class?
Right. Like, did she get a coupon for school?
You got coupons for school? What?
Her school, yeah. You know what I mean?
Was she a
Like,
Magnum come lately?
yeah, madam, come as you are.
I could see what MZ's saying because once the big guy shows up and he's tearing people up, I mean, it's like that for maybe a third of the movie in the middle, and then it shifts again, and then we have a new protagonist and a new antagonist, basically towards the end, and it starts to reveal more story elements involving that one. Because I guess he kills everybody, and now we got this one guy left that they're going to focus on, and then but it turns out that he has a connection with the antagonist and even somewhat with the guy that's killing everybody. So you're probably like enjoying the film with all the blood and the violence, and it kind of slows down just a bit, just to tell some more revelations and story, and then and you're just kind of like, wait, what happened again? So I need to rewind. Who's this now? Who's this guy now? Wait, he's got powers too.
What about the Raven Shadow? What about the guy with the full body tattoo? Like his gimmick was like to like drive a knife into his victim and then like piss on it.
Yeah, that was just like, you know what? I was like, all right, you're in prison, you smoke, you take his butts out, you light it. Why piss on the cigarettes? Quite frankly, you could use that later on. It could also be currency. So I was more
currency.
Yeah,
it's a perfectly good cigarette.
Yeah,
yeah. I was more offended that he pissed on the butts, but like I thought he could do something.
Pissing on the butts.
Piss on the butts. Piss on the Yankees. That's a silver bullet. Watch the Gary Busey scene.
There was a butt in that scene.
There was, yeah.
But Carlitos is right, because it's like the ending, the face off at the end is not who you would think it was going to be.
Yeah.
And that is a bit of a swerve. You know, we won't say who it is, but it's not who you think it's going to be. And that kind of brought back a little, it kind of invigorated the storyline a little bit, and it made it even better.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it did kind of keep you guessing. And I didn't necessarily mind, like, because sometimes when you see, like you kind of invest in a character and then that character dies early or something like that, it's almost kind of shocking. And it's kind of hard to really, then now you have to grab onto like another protagonist, So it's always interesting, but if it's done right, it can be done in a sort of a cool way, Leanna says, "Monster, too much violence, not enough story, 0."
That's not what I'm saying. Bring in the gore. I don't care. But that's not what I'm saying.
I'm picturing
is that like bring in the gimp? Bring in the gore.
Picturing Huey Lewis from Back to the Future. It's just too loud.
I'm afraid it's just too darn loud.
There's too much gore.
Yeah. I'm afraid there's just too much blood. Is that your blood? Oh, shit. Yeah, so, I mean, this is like I wouldn't call it a superhero movie by any stretch, but like super powered characters. And this is done in a way that I think MZ can appreciate. It's not like a fucking, superhero movie like that, but yeah, it's definitely a different take on sort of the powers kind of film, superpowers.
Yeah, or enhancements. I mean, end of the day, it was about human enhancement. So I think this is definitely I think that the super soldier idea is something you could gravitate towards this.
You could compare it to Universal Soldier.
Yeah, there you go.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good comparison because I know MZ doesn't like superhero movies, so
it's like Con Air meets Universal Soldier.
Meets slasher films.
Yeah.
Meets slasher. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't care if they were prisoners. Like that one chick was fucking chained up with a fucking sock in her mouth. That's fucking rude, dude. You didn't have to fucking kill her.
I know, I liked her.
Like,
I was hoping she lasted in the movie a little bit longer.
yeah, no need to kill the
Oh.
You know, douchebag doctor lasted way too long. But don't get attached. You know what I mean? It's like real life. Someone gonna die.
Maybe what we'll do is maybe for the verdict, maybe we'll talk about our favorite kills, I guess, because there's a lot of potential here for favorite kill. Is there anything else you guys feel is worth discussing before we sort of wrap this up and head to the verdict?
Yeah, I think Jesse would only relate to this. Okay, so there was that one guy that they kind of focused on who took over the control room or the driving area.
Yeah.
Guy with the machine gun. Did he?
Oh yeah.
Did he look like Shinji Mikami to you? Do you know who he is, Shinji Mikami?
I do.
You
I
should.
didn't think that, but let me look at a picture. I just don't know that actor's name, so
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I never seen him before, but
Yeah.
that's who immediately came to my mind. Man, that guy looks like Shinji Mikami. For those who don't know, Shinji Mikami is the the director, creator of the Resident Evil series, at least the first couple of ones.
yeah.
And
He's done a bunch of other awesome, mostly horror style.
Yeah,
like
mostly horror style games.
Evil Within, and most recently Ghostwire Tokyo.
I was cringing in that fucking control room scene where I'm like, God fucking damn it. This is how you fuck shit up?
And
How you
being being unable to drive the boat or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fucking giant fucking like M60 on mescaline that the fucking dude had. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I thought that guy was going to be a main villain too when it first started. Because
Yeah.
they focused quite a bit on him too.
It subverted so many expectations. You didn't know. And then, yeah, that's. I think it used a large cast really, really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
They introduced, you got some from dialogue, from the hallway shot with the guards versus with their prisoners. You get enough. And everyone too, really attractive. Really attractive on the ship.
Oh, speaking of attractive, is I don't know, I forget the dude's name, but there's that guy. He was on the phone, and when the dude in the control center was called and was like, this, giving him the update on what's happened, and he's getting a beach. What happens at the end of that was pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
It's
Didn't
like
see that come.
It's like, oh, boyski. Huh, that's. I'm like, she's got really short hair.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about what happened at the end. How he killed him. Jesus.
Yeah, regardless. I'm just saying it was a
Rachel was like, oh my God, it was a guy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for you.
Come on, River Shadow. God.
Yeah, it's fun. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, God.
But I was like, oh, you just, it tells you a story. I'm like, okay, I realize this is happening, and then it progresses, and like. Yeah.
But that guy was another villain.
Yeah. Let me see the chat room here. Leanna says, we know exactly what to do to torture MZ now. MCU marathon.
Yeah.
Starting with Guardians of the Galaxy.
And they say, Wolfman Jack announces MCU May. MZ shortly announces he's quitting.
Look. Did you guys see the article about why Nick Cage doesn't appear in any MCU?
Yeah, because they won't hire him.
No, because he's Nick Cage.
The only problem, he was Ghost Rider 1 and 2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Is Ghost Rider part of Marvel?
Yeah. I mean, it was prior to the MCU, but he's a Marvel character.
Yeah.
Leanna,
he's Nick Cage.
Leanna also says, "Oh, we got a quote for the movie's Blu-ray cover. it inverted a lot of expectations, Michael Ravenshadow. Did it invert some expectations for you, Ravenshadow?
Did I say that?
You must have. They quoted you.
It certainly sounds like something you would say.
Did I use that word incorrectly?
Use it in a sentence.
Inverted? I don't.
Inadvertently.
Inverted? Like
invertedly?
Is the word inverted? Like
yeah, inverted.
My mother has inverted nipples.
All right.
Leanna also says, how much money do you think Trick or Treat Radio would make if they released a best of quotes from Raven Shadow book or something? Just Raven Shadowisms. I feel like it would be a bestseller. Or nobody would buy it. One of the two. I'm not sure.
It's a fine line. It's a
very fine line. All right. Well, I think we could probably hit to the verdict on this one. So let me pull all that up. All right. Let's do the verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right. It is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Project Wolf Hunting was a trick or a treat. And we'll give any final thoughts we may have. Let's kick it off with MZ.
Well, I can't remember anything outside of what I saw that would trigger any kind of a memory for me. Like the score, I don't remember. But for what it's worth, the CGI that is mostly used for exterior shots is pretty shoddy. It's not that good. But for a movie like this, I guess it really doesn't need to be. I mean, if you can, hold off your beliefs on this supernatural, not supernatural, but this superhuman being destroying everybody on a ship in the most violent ways possible, then I guess you could believe what you're seeing as far as exterior shots go made through CGI. Obviously the number one thing about this film is the gore, the violence. It is upfront and it is in your face and it is completely unapologetic about it. Mm-hmm. And I can appreciate that a whole lot. If I think of this as just being a gore film and not really a film that's trying to tell a story, as convoluted as it can be at times, then this should certainly sate your appetite, because it certainly did mine. Everybody just felt like a talking head and a potential victim, with really there's a purpose with them, but ultimately it doesn't really matter because they're just going to become worm food by the time the movie's over. But the worm food that they become is amazing. It's incredible. The practical effects are really, really, really good here. I'm really amazed by how good they are. And it's a nice callback to practical effects from earlier horror films that I grew up with. And but as far as acting goes, honestly, I can't even recall the acting being either good or bad, because the violence was just so in your face and upfront and just not turning its back on you at all. It's right there in your face. And so, I mean, as far as the story goes, I can't really tell you. I can't really remember what it is, but the violence is a 10 plus for me. So with that said, I am going to say that this is a treat, but this is a movie that if you're looking for a good story, you're not really going to find it. If you're looking for a straight story, you're not going to really find it. But if you're looking for gore, you're going to find it in spades. This is a treat in that regard. So I would recommend this.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
I think it's been interesting thus far, the way we've been talking about the violence and some of the more crazy factors with this picture. I think it will make for an interesting dichotomy of a conversation between the next film. Now, I do love the violence in this, and I would slightly disagree with Monster Zero, where I do think the plot is there, and I think it fits a independent comic book canon film genre plotline. Now, is it 100% cohesive? I don't know. I did watch it with the dubbing on and not the translation, so I'm not sure if something I was missed without reading the actual dialogue. But I think this was a wild ride, and we talked about The Night Comes for Us. That movie is a fucking masterpiece, and I wouldn't want to hold some movie against it. But watching this made me think of that movie and made me think of how much I love Carlitos, because I have not seen that gave me that same emotionality, like that batshit. Oh no, you didn't! Fucking really? You know, when you're yelling at the screen. And I loved it. I thought the cast was great. This was an amalgamation of genre, chaos, violence, and beauty, and some good storytelling. And oddly enough, amongst all the violence and all the blood, all the gore, all the just the fucking zombie prisoner dude was kind of a dick.
He was kind of a dick. He just fucking like just fucking destroyed everybody.
Yeah, like he was definitely a dick. But this overall still wasn't mean-spirited. And I think that will be something I will address as we move forward. But for this movie, an absolute, I can't wait to introduce it to the boys for Samurai Night. Huge treat of the highest order. Watch this motherfucker.
It's funny. So Leanna had mentioned that Raven Shadow isms book, and so Evil Corny reminded me that there was a Twitter account that quoted Raven Shadow, and it was shit Michael Raven Shadow says.
Oh yeah.
So I just linked that to Leanna, and now she's going through it. I'm sorry, they. I'm trying to get the pronouns. Leanna.
I hope you didn't see any messed up things on Twitter. Raven Shadow. Just.
Leanna says Nietzsche the smart guy, Frederick Nietzsche. Like Nitchie, Nietzsche. Nietzsche the smart guy.
It's the
Nietzsche the killer.
Nietzsche the killer, yeah. And then they post another one. It's all piss under the bridge. And Leanna says it's so sad it hasn't been updated.
I gotta reach out to my people.
Yeah.
Your people.
Well, that's Raven Shadow's fault. He hasn't said anything interesting lately.
Yeah, maybe that's the case, Raven Shadow.
You ask Ollie, he'll tell you.
Maybe you gotta say something interesting.
Don't judge me by this episode alone.
All right, so let's Carlitos. How about you? I think we know what it'll be, but let's make it official.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't realized, I mean, few films I maybe buy it like a few days later, so I have actually the Blu-ray of this film. It may not be the most original story, or may not have a lot of original ideas, but it still felt like a breath of fresh air when I watched it. It introduced characters who were, chewing up scenery and just not bland and likable, even though you get maybe like a few minutes with them and stuff, and even a bit, oh, he died, oh, that person died, and a lot of them die, so you're gonna feel that way a lot.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's also a lot of Korean films, I mean, not all, I don't know, depends on how you feel. They can be a bit overlong and tend to drag sometimes, and even though this one runs about over 2 hours, it never felt like it did drag. It just kept going and going, and it gave you something new, even if it felt like it was starting to get too long. You know, like as I mentioned towards the end, it new turns and or not introduced, but a new focus on certain characters who may have been in the background then in the film, but now they're like the main star, and then you have a new villain, and then so yeah, this film is a treat for me. I don't know if I love it, but I really, really, really like it. And yeah, definitely. Whoever haven't seen it yet, check it out. Like I said earlier, I'm surprised this film hadn't got more buzz when it initially released.
Yeah. So for me, I actually was just looking through the trivia on IMDb, and it says, according to the director, 2.5 tons of blood was used throughout the production of the film.
Tons.
2.5 tons of blood?
Christ.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
That is insane.
That's got to be some kind of record.
Yeah, like that's crazy. And there's in some of the scenes, there's just like it's almost like a ridiculously funny amount of blood, you know. But I think the one MZ brought up earlier, the dude getting stepped on, that one was like crazy. It just kept coming and coming. It's just more and more blood. Yeah, it's crazy. The official body count is 57, which is actually a little lower than I thought.
Yeah, right? I thought it'd be like 157.
Yeah,
like 80 something.
yeah, no
All right,
kidding.
you said there was 2 tons of
2.5 tons is what the director
2.5
said.
tons.
Yep.
Okay, well, according to Google, 2 tons of, I guess, any liquid. I know, like blood probably weighs more than water, but I'm just going with what they got here. 2 tons is 1,496 gallons. So we're talking somewhere around the vicinity of over 2,200 gallons of blood used for this movie.
Jesus, that is insane.
What probably happened was the ship that they filmed the movie on was just a cargo ship shipping fake blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It eventually sunk. There was too
Hey,
much
we'll make a movie
blood
on here.
it.
We'll buy your blood.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, let me give it my verdict. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add too much more that these guys didn't already say, but it is a total splatterfest. It is bloody as fuck, as the kids say, and it's got some decent action too. I mean, I wouldn't say it's got any like incredible fight scenes that are gonna like stand up to, you know, Night Comes For Us or The Raid or anything like that. But in terms of just you know, violence and blood, it is incredibly violent. It's a cool story. You know, it does feel like it's a bit of a convoluted setup, but once you get to where you're going, it makes sense as to why they did everything they did and all that. So yeah, I mean, if you dig action and you dig gore, I mean, this you can't go wrong with this movie. It's got both in spades. So yeah, I'd say that this is definitely a treat. This was a lot of fun and surprisingly violent. So yeah, there you go. Treats all around. So big win for Carlitos on the first film for Project Wolf Hunting. And I think we should just roll right into the next one. So let me go ahead and pull up.
Great idea, Johnny. I'll be right back though as we keep rolling on.
So you're gonna miss the most important part of the movie, of the discussion when I talk about it, and give talk about the IMDb stats and all that. That's like the most important part, Raven Shadow.
No, I'm totally staying for that. Then I'll go out. I'll just keep.
Ollie's got to take him for a walk.
Yeah. Evil Corny posted the Giants Don't Die photo of Raven Shadow, and Leanna says that photo is incredible. Do you still have that thing kicking around, Raven Shadow?
I do, yeah. It's in the Raven Shadow shop zone. We'll get that back.
Raven Shadow's shop zone. Maybe we should try to get see if Leanna even wants one, but maybe we could send them one.
Yeah. And Leah's been old school. Yeah, we'll send them some stuff. Yeah. we got coasters. We got fucking
buttons still maybe.
some buttons. For real. I'm for real with this.
Leanna says it's fine. He'll just get a bottle under his desk and do his business discreetly. No, he won't. He won't do anything discreetly. All right, so do your thing, Raven Shadow. Go do your thing.
Well, I wouldn't say anything, but you give me. All right.
Go do your thing. It's cool. Leave
Go.
our guest, our patron takeover guest, hanging here. You know, it's cool.
Thought we were bros.
I know, man. All right, so let's jump into Full Metal Yakuza, and this is I think it's direct to video, right, Carlitos, or shot on video?
I don't know about shot on video, but I know it was direct to video. Just even light research will let you know that, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess Japan had its own direct to video market.
Yeah, because this was so 97. That makes sense. Yeah, it's before, definitely before streaming, and it was sort of on the tail end of that, kind of direct to video era. But yeah, it's listed as a comedy crime sci-fi film from 1997. It is 102 minutes, and it is directed by Takashi Miike and written by Itaru Ira, with a story by Hiroki Yamaguchi. And the film stars Tsuyoshi Ujiki, Tomoro Taguchi, Takeshi Caesar, I guess. It's kind of a weird last name for a Japanese actor. Kazuki Kitamura, Yuichi Minato, Shoko Nakahara, Momoko Nishida, Manzo Shinra, and Ren Osugi. Now, MZ, you can't say shit about my Japanese pronunciations because I learned from Japanese wrestling how to pronounce Japanese.
Yeah, okay.
I might still screw some up, but I understand the cadence of how you say the names. So, the synopsis for this one: an inexperienced gangster is killed alongside his strong, respected boss and awakens to find a mad scientist has given him a new body made partly of his boss and partly of indestructible bionics.
I'd say experience is being pretty nice to the guy. Inexperienced.
Now that
yeah.
Now that's a synopsis. Now that's a synopsis. That's how you write a synopsis.
All right, so this was 1997. I want to go back and see where in Takashi Miike's career this sort of lives. So, let's see. I think at this point, he had done some bigger things, but nothing like I think the thing is he hadn't necessarily broken out at this point, and that's I'm familiar more with his work in this century than I am with the stuff pre 99. But Audition was the one where I think that's the one where he probably broke out. That was in 1999, and then from there he worked on like Dead or Alive and
Ichi the Killer.
Yep. Yeah, he did Ichi the Killer in 2001, Happiness of the Kategories in 2001.
Visitor Q.
Yep. Gozu in 2003. Let's see. He did One Missed Call. That's
yeah, he did that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think he did the trilogy. Like the whole
I think so. Oh, you mentioned Zebra Man earlier, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes. You said it was his son that directed it?
No, it was a kid's movie.
Oh, a kid's movie. Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay. Oh, yeah. A down and out school teacher receives the calling to become the real life personification of an old television superhero, Zebra Man. That looks fun. So yeah, just kind of. Oh, and then he did the segment on the Three Extremes, And
Imprint.
yeah,
He also did Imprint.
an
Master of
Imprint,
Horror.
Master of Horror, yep. And then from there, Sukiyaki Western Django, Crow Zero, like a bunch of other stuff. Like that's when he really started to get into like making fucking 7 movies a year or whatever it was. And then he started to slow down and kind of pick some more of his projects. But yeah, he is a pretty prolific director. There's no doubt about that. And he's done some amazing work in genre cinema. I would say, for me anyways, Audition is probably the one that has the biggest mark on horror. I see a lot of directors cite that as a film that was inspirational to them, and like and it's also a film for me that whenever I hear a certain sound, it reminds me of that. So whenever I hear tiki tiki tiki, like whenever I hear anything that reminds me of that, I can't help but think of that fucking movie, So yeah, he's a very influential filmmaker, very prolific, and any opportunity I get to see a Miike film, I'm always excited about. So yeah, and this is one I have obviously heard about, and it was on my kind of in my on my radar, but I just never checked it out. So I'm glad that once again Carlitos brought this one for us. And so we talked a little bit earlier about Miike and our sort of like connection to him. I know MZ, you talked a little bit about it. Raven Shadow, do you know have you seen any Takashi Miike films other than the ones we've done on the show?
I don't think so. I think I've never seen Ichi the Killer, but I remember I came very close to buying it, like just blind buying DVDs back in the day. I never picked it up, but I watched all the ones for the shows, obviously.
Yeah. How about you, MZ? Do you have a favorite?
Favorite Miike film?
Miike film, yeah.
Oh, God. Audition, Happiness of the Katakuris, Gozu. Those are probably my big 3 right there.
Okay. And Carlitos, obviously you picked this one. So what made you pick this one, and also talk about sort of your experiences with Miike?
As far as picking this movie, it kind of just came down to, I know you guys like Takashi Miike, and this one is probably not one of his most talked about films. I'm sure it was probably mentioned in his. I'm trying to think. The words in my brain, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to pronounce it. But au revoir or whatever, au revoir of his movies, and so and I thought the concept was fun enough to pick for the show. So that's basically it for on why I picked it. As far as Miike films, my first introduction to Hui was Ichi the Killer.
Yep. And
I think I mentioned this on a previous episode I was on, but I had this magazine from Britain. It was a British horror mag called SFX magazine, and it was a special mag. And there was a really super good article about horror films from around the world, and just kind of highlighting countries that put out certain movies. And it didn't. In fact, that's how I first learned. That's why I first heard the movie Lady Terminator. Was through that magazine. I didn't buy it until years later, but I go, oh, that's that movie, that magazine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. Yeah. But Ichi the Killer was talked about, and the whole J horror phenomenon going around that time. As far as my favorite Miike movie, I know you're asking the other guys. 13 Assassins for me is probably my favorite. That movie is just so good, so awesome.
So fucking
so
good.
well made. I think it's his most technically accomplished movie.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It's just a beautiful film overall.
Yeah, I haven't seen Harakiri. That might.
Yep.
I heard that was even better. Maybe as a movie, maybe not as a straight up action movie, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
All right, so let's dive into Full Metal Yakuza. Now, I will say This movie is sleazy at points. Like, really sleazy. 1997 sleazy. Or I should say, 1982 called and wants its sleaze back.
I think 1972 wants to sleep.
I'd say it's on par with Ichi the Killer. Ichi Killer was pretty sleazy.
You know, I haven't seen Ichi the Killer in a long time. I saw it originally, like, around the time I saw, maybe a couple of years after I saw Happiness of the Katakuris, so probably around 2004 or 5, something like that. I don't think I've seen it since, honestly. But, yeah, I don't remember it being this sleazy, but it's possible. It's possible, because back then, in 2004 or 5, you know, like, it wouldn't have felt as sleazy as it would now, you know.
I didn't think about the sex scenes, so maybe
That's I think it was mostly
I'm just
that one.
thinking more of the extreme stuff, but
mostly that one scene.
The first one.
Well, towards the end.
Oh, okay. That's too.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that coming up. But I was like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah,
part.
don't watch that when the kids are home, right?
Oh yeah, definitely no.
It was like, oh, this is going on. Yep. Boyski.
That's the scene that, like, you know, if you watched it at home, like, your mom or, you know, whatever would walk in on, right? Like,
do you want some strawberry ice cream? What are you
watching?
watching?
Mom?
Yeah. What is this?
That's for the podcast.
I got some Entenmann's if you like. Oh my Lord.
Oh my. I got some of those butterscotch candies you like. Oh my God.
I got the Cadbury eggs for Easter. Oh my Lord Jesus.
Your great grandmother's here. Oh my God.
Now she's dead.
Here, I brought you that toilet paper you like so much. Oh my God.
Toilet paper? We're talking about snacks and food.
Well, maybe the mom already knows what he's doing. And needs some toilet papers.
Oh, honey, I brought you some tissues. Clean up that mess.
Oh my God.
Is that edible underwear you wanted?
Honey, here's that Jergens you like so much.
Here's that fleshlight you ordered.
You have a generator. I don't know why you need a flashlight.
That was just weird. We're talking about snacks and food. He's like, here's the toilet paper you like.
Hey, have you ever seen My Strange Obsession? Okay, so give me a break.
Yeah, we have. It's on your fucking back.
Oh, man. So, who here wants to get a fucking Yakuza tattoo grafted onto your back? Raven Shadow? You always talk about, oh, that's my next tattoo.
I do want. I mean, I can't afford a Yakuza tattoo, but if the Patreons want to kick in, I definitely want a lot of ink. We can use new equipment, but like, yeah. if I had, you know, tattoo bucks, I would be covered.
Wolfie would have to make another tier.
Yeah, no kidding. So, all right, well, let's so this movie, you can definitely tell the budget on this was not quite, you know, some of his other films, and not quite the budget of the film that we watched earlier, Project Wolf Hunting. So this is definitely a low budget movie, but I feel like for a low budget film, this was kind of endearing with like how it was done, and I didn't feel it was like overly cheesy for what it did. You know, like I really liked the stuff with Hagane. You know, like he's sort of like how would you describe him? Like not even an errand boy. He like cleans the fucking like Yakuza house. You know,
he's like a cuck.
Yeah, he's a wimp basically.
Yeah, and he just happens to kind of like stumble in and you know,
cuck.
It's a bit of a stretch there. But anyways, he kind of like sees Tosa's back as he's got a shirt off and he's like, has a sword and he's like infatuated with like the Yakuza tattoo on his back, and then someone else comes in and kind of interrupts him, but then we get like a whole thing where the story shows Tosa gets in a big brawl and ends up cutting like killing a bunch of dudes, and meanwhile his girlfriend or his partner or whatever was like watching and was like kind of aghast at what he had done, and he ended up going into prison, and he was there for several years, right? Like, was it 7?
They said 7 in the film.
Yeah, okay. And it's funny because it didn't seem like it was that long. It just they just kind of like jump cut to the future, and he was getting out, and so he was set up by the Yakuza. So he and Hagane are just like, Hagane is sort of like leading him to like a safe house and setting him up there after he gets out of prison. And then when he gets to the safe house, the car takes off. It kind of like, that's weird, like the car just left, and then those two are left, and then some like a rival Yakuza gang, 2 of them come out and basically shoot them up, and they kill Tosa, and Hagane survives, sort of. Well, I don't think he died. He didn't die, but then their bodies are sold to some fucking crazy doctor who is trying to like work on like his like robotics and bionics and stuff, and so he brings Hagane back to life, and in this sort of bastardized way. And so Hagane eventually gets away, leaves, but then he ends up getting brought back in because he wasn't done. He wasn't fully complete. And so from there, we have a little scene with him and the mad scientist doctor guy, and kind of goes from there. And he doesn't have emotions. Like he supposedly he doesn't have emotions, but he is basically an unstoppable force. And he has like almost a fully robotic body, and parts of Tosa were used to create a full body. So there's this Yakuza that he really looked up to, and now he's sort of like intertwined with him. He had Tosa's heart, he had like his back and his dick.
His wang.
Yeah. Like, it's funny with that subplot, like the movie was mostly pretty serious aside from that like subplot about him being like very like underwhelming in like the in the endowment part of the lovemaking, and you'd fall asleep, and he got made fun of for that, but yeah, so he wanted a big wang, and he was very excited to have a big wang when he was now Full Metal Yakuza.
He's like, and you also have his penis. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, really?
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The whole concept is so bizarre.
Yeah.
I love the fact that the guy who died, his boss,
Tosa.
I love the fact that he's shot dead. He's got bullets. He's just getting blasted away, and yet his heart seems to survive it.
I know. Yeah. It's
like now a single bullet hit his heart. Like, it just dodged all around it.
He was like
made it perfectly useful.
He was like riddled with bullets. It looks like he was dancing like Morris Day when he was getting shot. He was like, yeah. Raven Shadow knows how he dances. You dance on stage with him, Raven Shadow.
I was there, bro. I was there.
Yeah. Raven Shadow danced with Morris Day and the motherfucking time.
It's true.
So yeah, and I love the fucking doctor in this too. He is like,
I love the doctor.
Yeah.
He's so fun.
This guy.
Such a fucking funny character.
Such a D.
Well, he had such a D.
He wears a latex suit.
Yeah.
Like zip down when you first introduced him.
Yeah, it's just a really, I mean, it's definitely like a crime movie, but it's hard to really even necessarily call this a crime movie. It's this bumbling idiot who just happens to become indestructible, almost, and how he wants to get revenge on the Yakuza gang that he was with because they put a hit on, Tosa, his boss, and it just goes from there, and it's just like kind of an insanity. Like, it's got like a little bit of heart at it, like, because we have Hagane ends up sort of like meeting Tosa's old flame, who hadn't seen Tosa the whole time he was in prison, and so she was still sort of like in love with him, and when she finds out that he has Tosa's body, she's just like, I can't be with you because I'm trying to forget about him. Like, it's like the weirdest fucking thing. But
make love to me.
Yeah.
So I can forget about him.
Yeah. And then he says, well, here's the thing. And then she's like, you can't make love to me. I need to forget about him. It's just so fucking bizarre at times. But like, it never gets like to like a ridiculous point, but it never fully goes to ludicrous speed, if you will. Like it kind of like toes that line of ridiculousness, but then kind of brings it back a little bit with like the some of the violence and some of the like the heart that it has, but even like, but it's a total typical like Miike thing, because like at the end, like, you're kind of rooting for the dude, and then like there's that scene that we're talking about, the sleazy ass scene with with the girl that he is all of a sudden fallen in love with, who is with Tosa. And there's some pretty brutal stuff. I'm not going to really talk too much about what happens to her. She goes to kill the boss and then gets basically kidnapped and tied up, and yeah, they do stuff. It's pretty horrible to see in a movie now, because you wouldn't see that in a movie made in the last 5 years, maybe even 10 years or 20 years. But so yeah, it's a little rough. It's definitely a little rough at times, but it shows sort of like a little bit of the heart, because you kind of root for Hagane to save the girl and and all that, and then we see what happens. It's just like, okay. I feel like this is one we're just gonna go off the fucking beaten path. So like just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in terms of this, like scenes or ridiculous things that happen. Whatever. It's a pretty crazy movie.
What do you think of his shielding or blocking technique?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
What the hell was that?
Totally. He's like a dance move. Like he's like, like this side to
effeminate.
block the right. Yeah, he's like,
and he's doing like this.
He's like,
this tiptoe thing.
yeah. That's it. It's like,
on his tippy toes.
Yeah, it's like interpretive dance almost.
Yeah, like that dude from The Big Lebowski when he goes on his fucking dance recital.
And he uses it too. It's funny because he does that maneuver.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
and then he does that badass sword slash to kill the guy after he starts
right.
blocking the bullet. He's like, dit, 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 dit. Sha!
It's totally ridiculous. And I love that scene where the doctor's like teaching him how to use his new bionic body. And he's doing that. He's like shooting at him and he's showing him how to block. That's like, I love that doctor scene. Like the whole thing
a
is
bowl
like,
of metal cereal.
Oh yeah,
well, it's just metal parts with milk.
Oh, yeah.
Milk.
He puts milk.
Like springs and bolts and nuts and shit. With milk.
Yeah, with milk. I love the milk. Yeah. And I love that there's like a scene later in the movie, like kind of towards the end, when he grabs like a handful of bullets and just starts like eating bullets. Yeah, it's a bonkers movie. It's fun. I mean, definitely not going to be in my top like 10 of Miike, but I'm definitely glad I saw it. It's very at times esoteric. It's like, you know, definitely has a bit of a Miike kind of crazy vibe to it, you know.
You know, what I couldn't figure out is, and this is not on the fault of the film, or maybe it is, I don't know, because of how the rating system is out in Japan, but when we got to see the big reveal of his wang.
Oh, it blurred out.
It's optically blurred out.
Yeah.
Now in Japan, you know, you can't have any below the waist nudity. They don't like that over there, and so I thought it was. I mean, it's a bold move for Miike to put that in the film, knowing full well that it's going to be optically blurred, at least in Japan anyway, or maybe in other Asian countries. But I wasn't sure what he was thinking when he. I'm torn between maybe he's not, you know, it's a bold move. Maybe he wasn't thinking. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know what the rationale was for him to put that in there. I'm not complaining,
Right?
but I'm just trying to figure out what his rationale was for putting that in the film, knowing full well it's going to be blocked out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could just be one of those things where it's just kind of funny. It's almost like when you hear swears bleeped out, it's almost funnier sometimes, you know. So I don't know if he did it on purpose to just make it sort of like silly, because that's probably not something you'd see in Japan because they wouldn't even film that, you know. But yeah, that's what I kind of thought. It was, and especially when the doctor like reveals his. Yeah, it's kind of wacky, and
what's funny, you could still tell how almost inhumanly large it is.
Yeah, it's like down to his knee.
Right?
Yeah.
Down to her knee.
The optical blur is like this long.
Yeah.
Or when he was kind of messing with it while Hagani's body was on the table and his head was, or on one table and his head was on another.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about it, and you just see, I mean, it just looked huge. I was like, damn, that's not even humanly possible, I don't think, but.
There was just something like, I feel like that wouldn't necessarily be a thing as much anymore, but like he was so concerned about the size of his wang. And that was like the subplot, like his character's like subplot. That's how he knew he's like, you know, like sometimes people want to like overcome a fear or become brave about something, but in this, he just wanted a huge wang.
Well, truth be told, I mean, let's be honest here. That's the subplot of just about every man living on Earth right now. So
no, absolutely not. And for you to generalize like that is ridiculous. I don't want more than I got. And that's not me.
What are you talking about?
And that's not me bragging or anything.
I'm gonna buy you pants. I don't know what aisle they're in.
I can't hold it much more, Captain. I can't.
Of course, MZ brings that up because he's all balls, so he wants a little bit more to even things out.
Look, my balls are big, but
right, it would be nice, you know.
You know how they sometimes say like there'll be like a, I don't know, like a wrestler or a boxer, and they'll call him All Heart, like All Heart, you know, Johnny Be Good or something. It'd be like All Balls, Monsters Hero, and not the bold and brave kind, just the physical size.
Yeah.
Hippity hops.
Hippity hops. All right, what else about this fucking movie? Like, I feel like there's so much to talk about with This thing, it's just so ridiculous.
I there was the scene where he kicked that one guy's head after chopping it off.
Shit! I'm so
go
glad.
from one skyscraper to the next, and then he's
Yeah.
the next second.
I'm so glad you brought that one up. That was fucking hilarious. He kicks a dude's head like fucking clear off his body, and then like it was on the floor, right? It was hanging on the floor.
Yeah, it was off he chopped it off first with the sword. And then he just kicked it.
And then he kicked it, and it went through the window. I love that shot when it goes through the window, like the way they shoot that, and it just keeps fucking going across town or across city into another skyscraper.
And it's a bad effect. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a very cheap effect, but
and then it lands.
The head looked good, but
the
effects on that were.
And then it lands in the like Yakuza's office, and it's just like it just lands there, and then Hagane is just all of a sudden there, like.
Yeah.
That scene is just like so ridiculous. I love shit like that. It's just like, just so insane and so ridiculous. There was some others and I liked how like pathetic Hagane was like at the beginning.
God, he was so pathetic.
Yeah, it's so pathetic. And he gets beat up, and those dudes take his wallet and throw it in the fountain. And then his Yakuza buddy comes along, and he's in the fountain. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, like I lost my wallet in the fountain.
Oh yeah. Fucking really?
Yeah. And like even when he's with that woman, I guess she was a prostitute, but and she's just like,
really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like he fell asleep again.
She's just not enjoying it. She's just super limp.
Yeah. And so they made him just be such a pathetic like fuck up, and he can't even like go beyond like cleaning toilets with the Yakuza. Like after years, he's still the fucking like like errand boy cleanup person, and hasn't advanced one bit. But now he's got now he's all of a sudden like RoboCop, Robo Yakuza, and now he can kick ass and get revenge, and it's
kind of a funny premise though, right? Like to be the Gnort to the Green Lantern Corps. You know what I mean? That Stunad of the snarf to the Thundercat. But you know what I mean? Like that, but he gets a push, right? He becomes the RoboCop, but he's still
well, he would be RoboCock.
Oh, Jesus. Don't say that.
Wow, why? When did MZ become a fucking Mormon?
Well, no, it's a fantasy baseball inside joke. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Smoke and Tie, obviously Raven Shadow. I named one of his players. He was looking for a nickname, and I just randomly named him RoboCock, and it stuck. It doesn't have anything to do with him either. It just
he just says it all the time.
Number 35. Oh, cock.
So yeah, it's Leanna says pathetic men are endearing.
Thank you.
I love it. These two fucking said thank you.
Notice how I didn't.
And Leanna has another one. In quotes, when did MZ become a fucking Mormon? And they said that just in case that Twitter guy kicks around here still. So in case that Twitter person who runs the Twitter is still kicking around, that's another one right there for you.
We're going to save that.
All right. So what else? What else about Full Metal Yakuza? Do we want a sequel to this?
I mean, it was mean. It was mean. There's one scene at the end, I think, involving a tongue. That I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like that whole scene with that character was so fucking brutal. Everything that happens to her including that. Like, like.
But like, was that a?
Well, once they showed him the picture, then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as that was not fun. I hated everything about it. But was that her taking the power back by doing that? Like, fuck you, you're not getting this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was sort of like what was assumed, right?
Yeah. Christ.
Can you die that way?
But you probably can't. I thought it was shot. You said that too.
Maybe just blood loss.
I guess.
You'd have to be bleeding an awful long
Yeah.
time to die of blood loss through something like that, though. I would think.
Yeah, and I would think, I mean, our I don't know, like I think our mouths heal quick, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I would think that a wound in your mouth might heal quicker than on the outside, but I don't know. What the fuck do I know? But I guess it's possible. Maybe she even just choked on her blood or something, you know?
Mm.
So it could have been maybe not from the wound necessarily, but a side effect of it, you know?
And when you think it's all over, there's just one more quick scene right after that. That's nasty. You know, takes it a little bit further.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sleazy element of this film. It definitely gets very, very sleazy.
I think we'll fast forward. Like, yeah, you know, I'm good.
So
there was a. Oh, sorry, but.
Oh no, go ahead, Carlitos, if you're going to talk about
I was just going to mention the scene when he's finding his way to try to save her. When they try to run him over, he stops in his tracks and the car moves.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah,
I did wish when he went inside the car, more body parts and blood would be flying out. It didn't really happen. It was just one arm, boop, you know.
Yeah, I thought for a low budget film, I feel like they got a lot of mileage out of a lot of the stuff that they did, and I think that it was done really well to like not necessarily to hide the budget, but embrace it. You know, like kind of just embrace it, do some silly things, and I feel like Takashi Miike is like a fucking pro at that. Like, you know, embrace the insanity, embrace the ridiculousness.
Yeah, I can only imagine what goes on in that guy's head when he's not doing anything like filming or, you know, anything about having to do with movie making. Because the things that comes out of this guy's head is just totally off the wall. And you don't care if it sticks or not. You know, he throws wet spaghetti on the wall. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, great. You know, he wins either way.
The funny thing is, he's never written any of his own films. He's he's directed them all, and obviously, he's directed them, but he's never written. At least I don't think. Let me just double check here. He's written 4. Okay, so IMDb set up weird now. He's written 4 films. And still, out of all the films that he's done, the hundreds of films that he's done, he's only written 4. He did Lesson of the Evil, Sukiyaki Western Django, and The Great Yokai War. And there's a 4th. I don't know what this is. It says Takashi Miike X Sho Aikawa Zatoichi. I don't know what this is.
I pictured Takashi Miike not using scripts and just be like fucking yelling at people and filming it.
Just wing it.
It's just a general plot, just no dialogue. Just okay. Here's the situation.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's a stage play. Interesting. It says, following 2005's Demon Pond, the ever-prolific Miike tries his hand at directing a stage play. And this time, his focus is none other than the most iconic of samurai, Zatoichi. Miike regular Sho Aikawa, in his first theatrical leading role, stars as the titular blind masseur with a deadly cane sword, previously made famous by Katsu Shintaro and Kitano Takeshi. I can't believe I got that name wrong. I'm used to Beat Takeshi, but he's also goes by Kitano. supporting cast members include Abe. Well, I'm not going to go over the cast. That's interesting. So he did basically like a stage play of Zatoichi, and I guess it was like filmed. That's interesting. Yeah, I would like to check that out. But he did, but Sho Akawa, I think he was in this movie, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just see if I can. I'm looking at his IMDb real quick. Sorry, it's taking longer to scroll through here. No, I guess he wasn't in this. He just looks familiar to me. He was in a bunch of other Miike stuff though, so that's probably why. Yeah, I would I'd want to check that out. Doing a stage play of Zatoichi. So, yeah, I mean, Miike is such an interesting director, and I mean, obviously he's getting up there in age. He was born in 1960, so he is 63 now. Still fairly young, especially for a filmmaker. But I'm sure he's not going to be doing 11 pictures a year like he used to do. But yeah, I mean, even if he just picks and chooses his films, I would be totally fine with that. I do kind of want to see the Great Yokai War because he put out a sequel last year. So seems like it was fairly well received.
I think I remember that now.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that, Carlitos? The Great Yokai War?
I have not.
No?
I've seen it on shows, but I never got around to check it out. At least the first one. And I kind of vaguely remember maybe seeing a trailer for the new movie.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think we could probably start to wind this film discussion down. And let's do that. Why don't we head to the verdict and see what everyone thought of Full Metal Yakuza.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Full Metal Yakuza was a trick or a treat. And any final thoughts? Let's mix it up a little bit and start with Michael Ravenshadow.
So, this movie too was pretty batshit crazy. I think one thing for me, it suffered a bit following the previous film, which kind of a different sensibility. It's not either movie's fault or whatever, but like that was a lot of batshit nutsness. And yeah, batshit nutsness. But this one was crazy too, but a little bit more mean-spirited, and not quite as flamboyant and over the top.
Yeah.
But I think it was wild, and I think it also too would fit at a Samurai Night gathering. But like I said, it didn't have the same passion and plucky spirit as the previous picture. So I would still consider this a treat. Get your sleaze on and your violence on, but it's pretty wild. So yeah, I would say straight up, just treat.
All right, Monster Zero.
Miike has a very credible ability to inject humor into his films where A, you would either least expect it, or B, it just doesn't belong there at all. And it's almost like out of the book of Tarantino. I could see similarities between Tarantino and Miike in this regard. And it's always entertaining. It's always funny. It never derails from the seriousness of whatever situation this comedy might take its place in. and somehow he's able to not lose focus and just keep trudging along and telling his story, no matter how serious it might be. It's incredible what this guy is able to do. And Full Metal Yakuza is no different. I don't know if he did this, since his first film, or it just grew on him as he just kept on putting out films. But it's a trait of his that I love, and I can never get sick of it. This movie is not completely original, but it is no less bizarre. It's really off the rails. With the subplot of having a big dick. The giant dick subplot is a riot, and it's funny because it's taken so seriously. It's almost though as if the subplot is holding on to is holding its own against the main plot of the film. So it's kind of, get away from me. So it's kind of like so it's just really bizarre how this whole thing plays out. You could tell that there really wasn't that much of a budget with this film, just by the way this film looks.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's fun to watch. The acting is good. What's his name? Hasami? Is that his name? Hassani? Hagane. I think is great in this movie. He is so perfect. He's the perfect milquetoast type of character who grows to be the Full Metal Yakuza, I guess you could say. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's funny. I have very few complaints about it. Any complaints I do have at all are just pure nitpicking. So this is a treat. I'd say check it out if you ever get the chance. It's on YouTube, so check it out. What do you got to lose?
All right, Carlitos, let's make it official.
Yeah, I share many of the same sentiments. See what you did? The same sentiments. I don't even know if I even said it right then. That I share with MZ. Yeah, this movie it's crazy. It's one of the reasons why I picked it, because I like the crazy, I like the weird, and Takashi Miike around this time, between I guess the late 90s, early 2000s, he was covering a lot of crazy and a lot of extremes, a lot of mean-spirited stuff. Because, like I said, this even some of his other films like Dead or Alive had similar mean-spirited stuff in that is featured in this film. But I like the whole idea of a robot guy in a Yakuza movie. That makes it fun. It's got a little bit of blood in it, if you like that too. Not as much as Project Wolf Hunting, but
for sure.
It's got the usual Japanese spray in it. You're gonna have movies with swords in it. You're gonna have that too. But if you're definitely a Miike fan and you haven't gotten around to seeing this, yeah, definitely go see it. This is a treat.
All right. Yeah, for me, I'll say it's a treat. Yeah, I had fun with it. Like I said, there's some stuff that's definitely a little problematic now. And it was a little tough to watch. But, I mean, for a film made in 1997 that was direct-to-video, that was low budget, this has Miike's stamp on it. It has that kind of wacky, irreverent sense of humor, really off-the-wall violence, and it has a bit of a heart at its core, where you kind of feel for Hagane after a while, and it's like, oh man, like I just kind of want him to succeed and and just do this one fucking thing, but yeah, no, I dig it. I'm glad I got a chance to see this, and it probably wasn't as crazy as some other Miike stuff that I've seen. and it definitely is not in the upper echelon of Miike films for me, but it is still a good one, and one worth seeing, I think, if people kind of want to check out some older Miike. And this is available on, at least as of now, it's on YouTube. So if you guys want to check it out, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, treat for me. So Full Metal Yakuza. So Carlitos, I would say, pick 2 winners, treats all around. So not that we're keeping score, but I'd say it's a pretty good track record, Carlitos. So thanks for the picking some great flicks, man.
Do you think it would be a flawless treats all around if Ares was here?
That's a good question. I think Project Wolf Hunting, yes. Full Metal Yakuza, that's a tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. What do you guys? What do you think?
I got that reaction out of Hausu. So
yeah.
He gave it the hard trick, man.
Yeah,
the screaming trick.
I think he would have popped for Project, but he might have had some issues with some of the sensibilities of the picture.
Yeah, I think so. So, all right, well, there you go. That's going to wrap up our film discussions, plural. And next week, I'm excited about next week. We have a guest. We'll be joined by Rachel from the Zombie Girls. And we'll be talking about the new film from Brandon Cronenberg, Infinity Pool.
Ooh, I want to see that.
So that should be an interesting one. I think, I don't know if this was I don't know what the sleaze level of this movie was, but from what I understand, the sleaze level of Infinity Pool is up there. So we'll be checking that out. Film from Brandon Cronenberg. It's available now on VOD. You can check it out. It's got Alexander Skarsgård. It's got Mia Goth. By the way, Raven Shadow probably doesn't know that name, but she played Pearl in Pearl and X. Yep.
Give it to you.
X gonna give it to you.
X gonna give it to you.
And let's see. I didn't recognize too many of the other names in it, but I mean that's a pretty good start right there. Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. So we'll be checking out Infinity Pool. If you guys want to play along at home, it is on VOD. And check it out. And if
that's the new movie, right? That's the new
Infinity Pool, yes. Avengers Infinity Pool.
Avengers Infinity Pool?
Yeah.
Is this Rachel's first episode with MZ?
No. She was on Titan, right? I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
So I think it was the one and only with MZ. So, yep. So it's been a while, so it'd be fun to have MZ on with Rachel. But yeah, it was just Titan, and then after that, yeah, all her appearances were last year when MZ was on hiatus or whatever. Sabbatical, sure. That sounds way better than hiatus, so let's go with that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out. I know, MZ, you had Possessor pretty high up on your list on the year that we reviewed that for your year-end stuff.
Yeah, I think that was number 5 of my top 13, if I'm not mistaken. 5 or 6, somewhere up there.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to checking out his newest film?
Hell yeah.
It's crazy that Papa Cronenberg's still going strong too. So we'll see how.
Well, he just celebrated his 80th birthday yesterday.
Oh, it's fucking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking crazy. But yeah, looking forward to this. Evil Corny says, "Oh, Infinity Pool. I've seen that insanity." So
it's a nice palate cleanser after these 2 movies.
Yeah.
Insanity Pool.
Let's see. Marion says the piss under the bridge quote was in regard to multiple people peeing in Raven Shadow shower.
It's just piss under the bridge.
Leanna said, "Didn't need to know that."
Yeah, me either, Leanne. I'll tell you that much.
Sounds like a backhanded way of saying, yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah,
it's like reminding you that
Yeah.
you pissed in my shower.
Sometimes,
but it's in the past.
Yeah,
it's
ignorance is bliss. When I'm gonna fucking think about the piss, I'll tell you that much.
Ignorance is piss.
Ignorance is piss.
Oh man. So yeah, next week we'll be talking about Infinity Pool with Rachel from the Zombie Girls. So can't wait for that. But we still have a little bit left here, and we have a couple voice messages. Let me take a look here. So we have one from First Time Mike, and you know what? Let me play this one from Evil Corny first, because I believe he's going to talk about the movie. I think First Time Mike's is about something else. So let's check in with our man Evil Corny.
Hey guys, what's up, Carlito? You got 2 good picks this week for your Patreon takeover. First off, Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Yakuza, I'm going to give a treat to. I thought it was a good story, had a lot of fun with it. One of the things that was real trippy is how he's a cyborg, basically, but he's not waterproof. And he has his friend's cock, which was... really know why that was on there, but I just thought that was just insane. But like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. I'm giving that film a treat. Other film, Project Wolf Hunting, I loved. I'm giving that a treat to that. To me, that film was a combination of Con Air and Captain America: Winter Soldier. In that film, whenever Alpha is released, him on that ship was fucking amazing. Just like he was ripping through, everyone. I end up buying it on iTunes, and I plan to watch it over and over. And I'll probably get like a physical copy of that at some point. But I really love that film. Like I said, brother, those were 2 good picks. You have a good one. Hope everyone is doing well. Evil Corny out.
All right, Evil Corny. Good to hear from you, buddy. And you got the Corny seal of approval there, Carlitos.
Yeah, I just want to tell him real quick. If I bought my copy of Project Wolf Hunting on sale, it was $17. So if you want to hop on that, go for it. Yeah, but Corny's he DM'd me after he watched Project Wolf Hunting, and I love his reaction. He didn't say anything. It was just exclamation marks.
That's awesome.
And I go, I'm looking forward to hear what you say. I wanted to say, I know, right? I was like,
yeah, that's like Ravenshaw's equivalent of like, yo.
Well, here's the thing. I was the enthusiasm that Corny just did in those voicemails were pretty fucking outrageous. And I've known Corny. We've all known Corny for several years now. He's been in my home. We've hung out in real life. I've never heard him. He's peed in my shower. It's true. Call back. But I've never heard him use the word cock before. So that's awesome. I never heard him say cock. So yeah, treat.
You popped for that?
I did. I just never heard him talk cock. I've never
popped for cock.
Yeah, he never said cock before. So now, timestamp.
Oh man. All right, we got another one. Let's check in. I got to load it up first. One sec. But we're going to hear from First Time Mike. I think he's going to comment on the Patreon episode about marketing in the analog age. So let's check in with our boy FTM and see what he's got to say.
What's up, Trick or Treat family? This is First Time Mike. Hope everything is well with you all. Have long time no talk. It's been kind of busy lately again. And but I wanted to say something on the Patreon where you guys are talking about like marketing in the analog age, like VHS. And there's two things I'd like to talk about. First of all was the use of the VHS art back in the day, especially like the big like Wizard boxes and other companies that copied that. But in the VHS era, just the artwork was beautiful, gorgeous. The artwork, they probably sometimes I think they spent more on the artwork on the VHS box cover than the actual movie itself. There were a lot of movies that were sold to me by the sheer power of the visuals on the box. And a lot of times you were disappointed by the movie. I mean, just some of the truly strange European zombie movies by like Jess Franco and Jean Rollin that you got in different chopped up copies where what was happening on the cover sometimes had nothing to do with what you were looking at, or sometimes even understated, or in some of the other ones made whole new narratives just from the pictures alone, and the movie just had just a sprinkle of what you were expecting, but the visuals sold you. And back in the day when my dad would let me rent horror, as long as there wasn't a lot of boobs, so my mom wouldn't yell, that was a great selling point. A lot of times a great cover sold a movie that was but hey, you watch the rental because you put your money down. But the video box art, I know there's a couple books on the subject, but just even going to put in VHS covers from the 80s and just explore, just because some of the visuals are just gorgeous. Another thing I'd like to talk about is one of the selling points that a guy named Charlie Band used in his, it was called Full Moon Entertainment. It's gone by several different names, but the main thing is it's like early 90s, I think, was the heyday from then to like maybe 94, 95. But Charlie Band had a deal with Paramount, and they did basically, it was for about a good solid 5 years. It was just solid, a B movie factory churning out different movies. But the way Charlie Band did it was he set it up basically almost like a comic book continuity. There were characters like Trancers with Tim Thomerson, Puppet Master, Demonic Toys. But basically there would be like sequels and crossovers. And the packaging was such that when you got the movie, you had a bunch of trailers for upcoming movies. And eventually they branched out into like maybe sexy time movies and even like kids fantasy programming and urban horror, different, very comic book like in the setup of how he did the movies. But you would have your trailers, then you would have your main movie. But the brilliant part what Charlie Band did is that he was such a salesman. He had something called the Video Zone. The Video Zone was maybe about a 15 to 20 making of documentary of how the movie was made. And then maybe there was a section or two of maybe previews of upcoming movies, or an interview with I think maybe like somebody like if they had Lance Henriksen there, or in one of the movies they had Oliver Reed, and maybe there'd be some interviews from a different movie, or a little section on how they did the makeup, and it was just basically a way to draw you in the world. And it was it sold a lot of stuff, and it was something I always look forward to when I rented a full moon movie, because the movie was short. You got maybe 75, and it was a precursor to a lot of the stuff you see on DVDs with all sorts of making of videos. Charlie Band was one of the first people to do that in this movie, and I was a big fan of that, of his films pretty much to 2000. After he started doing all the horror movies, I was kind of out. But I'm running late, haven't talked to you guys for a while, so I just wanted to ramble on, say hi, and I checked it out. I've been listening.
Oh, I got cut off there. Well, that's too bad.
Flip the entire message.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. It wasn't he sent it from his own device, so it wasn't even like a speak pipe thing cutting him off. So I'm not sure what happened, but that sucks.
Hey.
But first time, Mike, awesome to hear from you, buddy. And yeah, like I did watch a fair amount of Full Moon stuff, but I had forgotten how like he is like kind of like the ultimate carny, and he still kind of is, but it's all about marketing his own stuff, you know, and he's good at it, you know.
Well, he's a bit well, yeah, he's quite good at it. Maybe a little bit too good at it. He's been trying to, for the past few years, he was trying to sell off some product that he claims to be first run videotapes of like Doll Man or Demonic Toys or Shrunken Heads or whatever, and they're not. I don't know what goes through his head sometimes, but I take him with a grain of salt, you know.
I am curious how he got the license to do Doll Man, because that is a DC property.
I didn't know that.
Is it really?
1940s, yeah. There was Doll Man. I think DC may have acquired it. But yeah, there is a character. If you Doll Man, he's a weird like blue tunic and short pants. Very weird.
Doesn't sound like anything like the Tim Thomerson character.
Yeah, no. But like, so I wonder how they got the rights to do that in a title.
I'm kind of looking it up. Is it the same? Because I don't remember.
I mean, Dollman, he was a diminutive character. He was like the Atom. He could shrink. He was in the Who's Who of 1985.
I mean, it wouldn't be off base to say that, because he did try to get Doctor Strange, and it just became Dr. Mordred.
Right. And I mean, if you watch The Karate Kid, in the credits, it does say copyright DC Comics, because there is a Legion of Superheroes member named The Karate Kid.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny. So I don't see anything. I'm looking on the Doll Man Wikipedia. There's nothing there. Doll Man film. Let's see that. Yeah. Okay. So that's the one. Albert Pune directed, starring Tim Thomerson, Jackie Earl Haley. You know, I don't think I've ever seen Doll Man. Looking at the box art.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, he's Tim Thomerson. He's got a trench coat, being awesome. Kicking ass. But yeah, he was a DC character.
Not this one though. I at least according to the things I'm seeing.
Name only. The name they were short and they were.
Well, yeah.
That's the only difference. That's the
they
only.
Probably
difference.
didn't have. I mean, it's so generic that I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can trademark something that's that generic. I guess you could, but.
Well, it's a different conversation. I mean, like Marvel and DC share copyright of the term superhero. But
what about Captain Marvel?
That's a whole fucking different conversation. No, but when I said the Doll Man was a DC character, it's a name and being short.
I see. Okay. And being short.
and tiny Titan. Only. Tim Thomerson is cooler than fucking DC Starman. I mean, Doll Man, rather.
Starman, Doll Man. Starman's way cooler than Doll Man, though. All right, so that's. Let me just double check. I think that's it for voice messages, though. It sucks we didn't hear from Carlitos this week, man. Jeez. I'm just kidding.
Hey, trick or treater, this Carlitos.
Yeah. There you go. Here it is.
Saw Full Metal Yakuza and Project Wolf Hunting.
All right, so yeah, let's wind things down. We had a nice full show and a couple awesome movies to discuss. Leanna says, and you people say Raven Shadow never says anything interesting anymore. For shame.
Thank you.
And they quoted you by saying, but I've never heard him say cock before. Applauds. Did you really applaud that?
Wait, me?
Yeah, you applauded corny saying
He
that.
applauds for anything. He
That's true.
applauds.
He applauds for himself.
No, I
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
when it's
Apparently
funny.
applauds for cock.
It's very cathartic to say cock.
Yeah.
Standing O.
Well, it's cathartic. Why? Go ahead, say it again.
Cock.
Now say Michael Rosenbaum's favorite show, or I mean your favorite show featuring Michael Rosenbaum.
So cock inside of you.
Oh man.
Now see, this is a monumental moment.
Say it slower.
This is a monumental moment because we've been waiting for. Well, actually, I've been waiting for this moment for the longest time, and finally we get to see cock come out of Raven Shadow's mouth.
Jesus Christ!
Wowzers!
You've been waiting for that?
What, you haven't?
No.
You're weird.
How about that?
But that means that it has to go in first, and you've thought about that. That's the part that I'm trying to get.
No, I
past
never
here.
thought about that. That's weird.
Well, clearly you have. If you wanted it to come out.
No.
I was hoping for more accent when he said cock.
When you get a sliver in your hand, you don't care how it got in there. You just want to get the fucker out, right?
What?
I'm now feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, that made me uncomfortable too. I'm getting the douche chills. Leanna also says, as we know, a vote for Raven Shadow is a vote for cock.
Put that on an election.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, right.
And how come you don't say that word with an accent, Raven Shadow? I'm surprised you don't say cack.
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 What do you use to seal up the tub?
Cack. Get some cack at the Home Depot.
What do you use to seal up the tub when it springs too many leaks from people peeing in it?
Cock.
Cack.
Cack.
All right. Well, it is time to end things. And we sadly have to say goodbye to Carlitos for now. But
Aw.
what, you want him to stay over, Raven Shadow? Gonna invite him over?
Just come over, dude.
I gotta save us some money first.
I just cleaned the shower and everything for you.
I did clean the shower. My mom will drive halfway.
He just used some cack in the shower.
Some cack.
Well, it's always a pleasure, Carlitos. Love hanging out with you, man. And that reminds me, we got to do another blackout tape sometime soon, Raven Shadow. Let's chat about that.
I was actually pondering that. I was pondering that today. So yeah. Definitely,
Okay, we'll have some news on that soon then, because I don't want to let folks down. Maybe wait, what's April Fool's? That would be a fucking funny time to do a blackout. Oh shit! April Fool's is a Saturday. So give us some thought, Raven Shadow.
Yeah, no, it's on the horizon.
If not, hopefully soon. Leanna says you did a great job, Carlitos.
Thank you.
I agree. Carlitos is
Happy to see your return.
Yeah. Carlitos is the man. Love having him on, and he always brings some great flicks for us, and just some general great conversation. And let's see. I'm sure we'll hear from Carlitos again soon. And then, if we have some news about a blackout tapes, we'll let folks know. You can hang out with all of us and Carlitos, maybe, if he's available. So.
Oh, yeah, I can. I could do Saturday nights now.
Well, hey.
I don't work Sunday mornings no more, so.
All right. Well, there you go, Raven Shell's another, check that box off on Saturdays. So.
Hey, you got to do it now.
It ain't no blackout tapes without Carlitos, I'll tell you that much. Bro.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Carlitos, anything, if you have anything you want to plug, you want to talk about, anything you want to tell people to go check out, a new movie or something like that, feel free. This is your platform. Feel free to do with it what you will.
Yeah, I don't do anything particular. I just a normal guy who loves the show enough to put some money into it. So, but you can check me out at least on Instagram. You can check me out Zombito_way, XOMBITOS way, I think. And
sounds right.
Yeah, that's it. And if you go check out Last of Us TV show if you haven't already, it's pretty good.
You know what? I haven't seen any of the episodes yet. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till a few build up, and then all of a sudden I missed the whole season. So now I'm like, okay, well now I can go back and watch all of them if I want to. So
it gets like a lot of comparisons to The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because of the
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I played the first Last of Us, so I I don't know how it sounds like it's pretty close from what I've heard, but so
it's close, but they made, I think, smart changes.
Okay, good.
It's not big changes, but I will warn people, if you're going to go in here thinking you're going to get a zombie fest, it's not that at all. In fact, that takes a back seat to the drama, and it's just kind of more of a road movie. And it's really good.
It's actually probably not a bad thing at all. So
I actually thought it was quite refreshing, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm curious to check that out. But yeah, now that Carlitos has inspired me to do so, I'm going to check that out. So all right, well, let's go around and say goodbye, and you guys can say goodbye to Carlitos as well, starting with MZ.
Carlitos, it's good seeing you again, my friend. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
And always thank you for your Patreon support. You're always welcome back whenever you feel like it. Next week.
Okay, I'll be on next week.
Good. Arrivederci, douchebags.
There
it is. There it is. All right, Raven Shadow.
All right, Carlos,
put the cock in the crack.
All right, with the cock in the crack.
Put the cack in the crack.
Cock in the crack. Don't talk.
Cack in the crack. Don't talk back.
I feel you're ruining a moment between me and Kyle. Trying to say, like, I love him. Want to talk to him on multiple platforms, in a real life and in the social life. And but no, man, thank you for some great pictures, brother. And we'll talk soon. And until next time, live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
All right. Yeah, that is going to do it. Carlitos, always a pleasure, my friend. Love hanging out with you. Love shooting the shit. Love talking movies. And I appreciate you bringing these to our attention, because I probably, Project Wolf Hunting may have just passed me by. I may not have even sought it out after the fact. But yeah, man, that was a fucking blast. So I appreciate that. But yeah, if you guys want to follow Carlitos, Zombitos Way, you can check him out on Instagram, or if you're on the Facebook group or Discord, Carlitos is also there. And we don't utilize it all the time, but we do have Carlitos is active in posting in the games section of the Discord. I'm hoping to get a little bit more stuff going in there. But
hey, if there's anybody playing Evil Dead the game, please.
Yeah.
You know what? Should Mary and I get into a game? Maybe that's the 13th step for me. Just playing a video game.
I don't think you have the patience for it, but maybe.
All right, maybe I'll enter the chat and see what's Metroid up to.
Metroid.
All right,
well, yeah,
actually,
you can see.
I just got my copy of Metroid Remastered for the Switch.
There you go.
Check that out after this.
Yeah. So
I
Carlitos is what?
What?
Let me fucking finish the show. So yeah, Carlitos has posted some stuff about like Resident Evil. He put his gamer tag up on there. You're streaming the Callisto Protocol, Dead Space. So Carlitos has been sharing his stuff. If you guys are into games, we do have a gaming discussion forum on the Discord, and I think I opened that up. I think it was only Patreon supporters, but I think I opened it up just to allow some more people to kind of see what's going on in there. So if you guys are gamers and you're not a part of our Discord, you should join. No matter how.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Carlitos. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the PS5 is now live and supporting Discord, so both the Series, Xbox Series consoles, and the PS5 can support it, and you can talk through that.
Yeah, there you go. So we have. There's actually a gaming channel as well. So, if you guys want to connect up, play some games, and shoot the shit with some other folks from the community, it's a good place to do it. So if you are not part of the Discord, you can join for free. You can get access to the Discord. You have access to a few of the channels and forums. If you want full access, you have to join the Patreon, and you can get in for as little as $2 a month. So if you like the show, you want to help support, you want to get in on that, then feel free. So, all right, well, that is going to wrap things up here. As always, huge thanks to Carlitos, and yeah, we appreciate all the support, man, over the years. It's it means a lot. Your friendship and your support mean so much to us, so we appreciate that, bud.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And that's going to do it. So if you guys want to check out the movies, we did Project Wolf Hunting and we did Full Metal Yakuza, both treats all around. So give them a look. And then next week, we'll be talking about Infinity Pool, the latest film from Brandon Cronenberg, and we'll be joined by Rachel from the Zombie Girls. Should be a good time. So until then, we'll see you guys later.